Listen, you guys, this has been a shit show,
A little bit.
but Alyssa's here
Yeah.
in the flesh. Don't look at
Alyssa's
me.
here.
The nice thing also about this crowd is we know how to handle a shit show, right?
Absolutely.
This ain't our first rodeo.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So our guest for today is unfortunately sick. And we had the idea to Alyssa's here visiting me, so we had the idea to just like bring her on. I'm gonna be like all over here on you and be like,
Good.
hello.
I like that. That's as it should be.
Rebecca's actually so happy that like we're having this like slumber party for her virtually, because she's like, there's so much like touching and closeness going on that I'm so glad I'm not there.
Rebecca's like, I love being involved in the slumber party from
Afar.
hundreds of miles
From
away.
afar.
From
Yes.
afar.
From afar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in town to visit you for the
Oh,
weekend.
oh, cool.
Yeah, obviously, for the people who didn't know. I'm
you
not a hologram.
Are you laughing or are you dying?
She's laughing at me.
Okay.
Look,
I
sometimes...
love you telling her what you're doing.
Marina,
Yeah, just stating the obvious. It's
Marina
fine.
says hi. Hi, Marina.
But yeah, so your guest was sick. I feel like I'm trying to keep
This
her
is
on
turning.
track.
Yeah.
I mean, I already said
No,
that.
this has turned into the slumber party where everyone calls their mom at 11:30 at night to come pick them up. This is the energy we're
It's
bringing.
true. It's
Hey,
true.
Ash. Marina and Ash are here.
Yeah.
Ash, thank you so much for the
I'm gonna
resub.
be like, let's get out the Ouija board, and Jamie's gonna be like, let's watch a horror movie, and Rebecca's gonna be like, both of those are satanic.
Rebecca's
I'm
going to be
going
like, I have to
home."
go to bed. I have to do my red light therapy, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Bye. Listen,
Bye.
I did not.
No.
I got to do all that last night while we chit chatted. It was a lot of fun, and then I went to bed, and no one else was in the room. It was great.
Yeah.
That is really great.
Meanwhile, I got to snuggle up with Elyssa.
You didn't actually snuggle me, which is good for you.
I feel like there's a little snuggling. Like when I first came
yeah.
to bed, you were like really over on my side, but I liked it. It was nice.
We were like this.
So we were like, there's lots of like gentle, warm touching.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, but you know what
I
I
feel
mean.
like at one point I rolled over and like touched your face, and I was like, sorry.
You woke up at one point, I think you were having a dream, and you were like, ah! But you didn't touch me. You just went, ah! And I was like, are you okay? And you were like, yeah. Yeah. And I was like,
I don't remember
"Okay."
that. But it sounds about right.
See, this is why I took 2 Benadryl when you and I slept in the same bed, Jamie, and then no one woke up, and I didn't remember anything.
Oh, good. So
That's
you
fine.
didn't feel the warm touches from me then.
I didn't.
It's a lot better than it used to be. I remember I went on a road trip in college with a friend.
Yeah.
And we shared a bed at one point, and she was like angry at me the next day because she was like, you were like on top of me all night, and she was like not okay with it, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I was asleep, I really was not trying to be on top of you, my bad. So
My mom used to give me
Yeah, where did the cats go in all of this?
the cats.
the cats,
Mm-hmm.
the pussies,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, Snoop and Friday.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
This fucking guy.
Sorry. Marina was asking.
I just couldn't.
Welcome to the slumber party.
They're around. Snoop likes me.
I actually left the door open.
Mom.
So
I think we're friends.
Call my mom.
You're like Rob. You're like texting Rob right now. You're like, come in and say like is at the hospital and I have to. Rob, you have to get me out of this.
Yes.
Oh.
Do you ever have like kids who are like they set up a code word to text their parent like if I mention bananas, you come pick me up?
Yeah, I don't think
Or
I
like
ever had
Yes.
that.
You need to set this up with Rob.
Yeah.
I mean, she really doesn't.
Yeah.
She should just be trapped with us. We got an ad break going on right now.
It's okay.
I didn't know.
think it's still
I
going
didn't
great.
realize Marina said where did the cats fit in. I thought that was just you
So-
randomly.
Friday sleeps over by you.
Mm-hmm.
She's staying far away from me, which is fair. I would too. And Snoop has been hanging out with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snoop's been testing her out. You know.
Yeah. He's cute.
Seeing how overstimulated he can get with her.
He's not bit my
Little
head
bitey.
yet. He did get up behind me and like rub against my head.
It looked like he was going to, so I
And
was trying
Jamie
to
was
warn
stressed.
her. I was
Jamie
so
was like-
stressed because I know what that feels like, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a cat bite your skull?
Rip hair out of it.
Have you tried pointing at the cats?
But
They
he
love
just
that
nuzzled
shit.
me, and then when he was done, I was like, I don't know what you've been so dramatic about. That was fine.
Yeah, she told me I was being dramatic about Snoop literally biting my scalp and ripping my hair out.
Which he didn't bite my scalp.
Yeah.
He just
And I was
nuzzled
like,
me.
did he bite your scalp? And she's like, no. But you're being dramatic.
I think he just reserves it for mother.
Elyssa was totally the little spoon, by the way, Marina. I missed your comment. She's a tiny spoon.
I also feel like when I am the little spoon or the big
You're
spoon,
really pretty.
So like Chris is so much
She
bigger
didn't
than me.
really
I feel like I'm like. Did I talk over you?
No, I said you're really pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, we literally earlier were like, being bi is so fun because it's just like, are we friends? Are we flirting? We're never gonna know.
Yeah.
We're never gonna know.
There's been
But
lots
also,
of
you look
flirting.
really hot too.
Oh my god, thank you.
You
They're
do.
just really, really good friends.
Yeah.
Good friends and roommates.
Yes, exactly. But
No one needs.
But yeah, whenever I'm spooning like Chris, I feel like I'm like a little stadium seat. You know, like the little foam stadium seats that people pull out. That's what I feel like. I feel like I am just like a little seat on his butt, and that's it. It's very silly.
And they were roommates.
Like a teaspoon on a ladle.
Wait, am I the lady?
Yeah,
No, Chris is the ladle.
Oh, okay.
There's a good 3 feet between me and Rob, and no one touches.
3 feet. I'm just trying to even figure out how that's possible.
I feel like
Oh, I stay like on the edge of the bed, like on the edge.
That's got to
in
be
a ball.
so comfortable for you.
I don't touch my husband. What do you think we are? Straight?
Ugh. At night touching,
my
that's
beard.
too hot. That's too sweaty.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Night touching is not. I mean, like, there's a good 10 minutes, and then I go, okay, good night, and then I literally move away and
You can't
go to my
cuddle the
corner.
whole night. You gotta have a period at
No.
which you're like, okay, it's
There's
about
like a-
getting comfy
yeah.
and stretching out now.
You gotta separate.
Yes.
Ash says
Also,
also
when
straight
I-
people.
Ew, straight
And
up.
Marina says saving room for Jesus, just like in middle school.
Yes.
It's true. That's what this is like. A
But
middle
yeah,
school
Jesus
sleepover.
has the
Yeah.
whole middle of your marital bed.
Jesus has the whole
that's why he does this,
middle
so he can,
of
like,
the bed.
have his
He
own
has
room.
the whole
I love this too
middle.
because like Jesus is against premarital and postmarital sex actually. No one gets laid in Jesus' world.
No.
Nobody.
Except Jesus.
Just leave room.
Does Jesus get laid?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that.
I mean, he's in the middle.
Oh. I mean, Mary Magdalene was around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Save room for
Maybe
Jesus,
maybe
Mary,
they
and
also were
Joseph.
just two good friends.
They were roommates.
And they were roommates,
Mm-hmm,
just like him and Peter.
I feel like we ought to get off Christian
Yeah.
conversations
Yeah, let's
because
move on. Let's move
well,
on.
mostly because I'm going
Okay.
to start trying to make like biblical jokes that are not for anybody. They're not good. I was about to be like, and she chose the better part, which is no, we don't need to.
Okay.
If anyone gets that,
We
reference,
We
drop it
already
in the
did that
chat,
episode.
but I'm embarrassed that I know that. Do you ever get angry about how much of your memory Christian stuff takes up? Sometimes I'm like, I
Actually-
could have gotten so good at a lot of things with all the hours I spent in Bible study.
See, the thing is, I slowly started to replace it with just like 90s and early aughts
Yeah.
lyrics.
You were smarter than me. Better.
And now I'm like, what was it on our religious trauma episode? I was like, yeah, and like before we got confirmed, like we had to study, and I was like, cataclysm, and I was like, and then Rebecca said something, and we were like, I don't know, and then we were like, catechism. Like I like forgot the word for catechism. Anyway,
That's not in my lexicon.
oh,
But that's the fun thing is all these little cults have their own little language and their own little,
yeah.
language. Ash said Jesus equals Jesus is our asexual and or polyamorous king. Yeah. Jesus is king. And that is the way we mean it.
Anyway, hey everybody. It's
So we're
it's
having
like-
a slumber party.
Yeah, we're having a slumber party. It was so fun last night. We wanted to do it again live in front of a studio audience.
Mhm.
Maybe with less inebriation.
We did fashion show. We did Snick Snacks.
we
we
did
did
do
pet
fashion
show.
Pet show.
We did fashion show and Snick
We
Snacks
saw
and
your
pets.
dogs.
Oh,
We did
yeah.
see pets.
Saw my dogs.
We saw Rebecca
We did
naked.
skincare routines. Yeah, we did good.
Yes. Oh,
We ate chips.
Yeah.
We ate chips. Boy,
That's
it's real
right.
fun when you're in your mid-30s, early 40s.
I think it's nice. Well, yeah, but I think it's good. Like, this is something I've talked with
I
a
don't wanna
few
go
friends
out.
about. Something I kind of miss is I feel like when you're younger, you have a lot more like unstructured hang time, and it's really nice to visit and get that. Where it's like we're gonna run
agree.
errands together. We're gonna just
Mm-hmm.
chill. We don't have to have a plan. We can just like eat cereal and watch cartoons,
Yeah.
and that's nice.
Or eat chips and watch Black Mirror until we're disgusted with everyone.
There's a lot of
It sounds
murder
like
in
so
that
much
show. I didn't know people were getting so murdered in that
People
show.
on that show have no morals. Anyway.
So much murder.
So
Pants optional. True. True.
what are we talking about today, ladies?
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about?
Or
I think in the vein of doing something fun for yourselves,
yes, we're talking about
recentering.
how to recenter yourself in your life. And I feel like this came about
Here we go.
because I feel like in the
Look, there's an outline.
zeitgeist, people are talking about decentering men. Like, do you watch the White Lotus? You didn't watch the third season of White Lotus.
It did not.
Please,
Right.
the spoilers.
I'm caught up.
Oh, that's right. Me and Rebecca don't care about spoilers. Anyway, but there's like a group of 3 friends. This
Okay.
isn't a spoiler. We introduce them. They literally get off the boat in the first episode and we're like, hi, we're 3 friends. We're white ladies. We've been lifelong besties and we're here to celebrate together. Like, it's not a spoiler, okay?
She's even like giving me like the script like word by word.
That's actually, it's fine. I don't need to argue with you about whether I'm spoiling this show.
Don't argue with me joking. Please.
See, I don't know. Are we joking? Are you messing with me?
Yeah.
I literally have to ask Jamie that because I don't know. It doesn't register. I'm sorry. But genuine question. But yeah, in that show, there's like this group of 3 friends and people talked about how like a lot of their interactions are still very like men, like centered around men, even though they're there to hang out with each other. It's like they end up talking about the men in their lives, or like they are flirting with a guy who's there and it's like who's gonna hook up with him, and so it just got me thinking about like what does it mean to actually decenter kind of the other people, because I think a lot of us are conditioned to put other people's expectations and ideas of who we should be front and center. So it's like, what is it to unpack that and make yourself and center yourself in your life?
It's really easy to like fall into deprioritizing yourself just constantly and like not even think about it.
Yeah.
And like prioritizing yourself, we talked about all the different ways, that even like the teeniest tiniest ways that are also prioritizing yourself, that like
Starting with the basics.
yeah.
I do want to say that as we were like talking about this outline of like, fuck the patriarchy and fuck men, Rob just walks by with an armful
yeah.
of dirty towels that he was about to go put in the washing machine and just goes,
Yeah.
And then Elyssa goes, at least he's doing laundry.
I literally was mid-rant of like, I am done with men who are not unpacking their patriarchal ways and are still reinforcing the I am done with men, women, anyone who's doing, and he walks by like, okay.
just laundry. I'm just going to go do the laundry, guys.
And I'm like, not you, Rob.
Yeah.
I did
Except last night,
qualify
didn't we
it.
like end the call by being like, yeah, fuck you, Rob, or something like that?
Probably. For Rob.
Hi. My
Hi.
kids are watching.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, Ruthie. Hi, JJ.
But yeah, I feel like this is a time-honored tradition, is just like bitching about the patriarchy / men.
Yeah.
Generalizing about men.
A time-honored
I
tradition.
think we also said that like men always get so angry talking to us because they realize that they're talking to higher evolved life forms and they can't stand it and it makes them mad and they try to kill us.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think they just feel, I don't know.
Like on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, I think women are just
Better.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I like to believe that.
I was gonna say more willing to like reflect and have introspection and do
Yeah.
the work
I think
and like
we're,
dig in because I'm sorry.
yes. Go to continue.
Oh, I was just saying because I mean we're already taught from the get-go like well women are they have emotions and feelings so we're already told like we're too much and men are just taught to stuff it down so we're already in that headspace of like well, fuck it, we might as well have these emotion and feelings and so we do the work and
Yeah.
we get to that next evolution and men are still trying to figure out like whether or not they can cry.
Yeah. Maybe.
I can make them cry.
I'm trying not to give myself a superiority complex. I don't know how much this is helping.
I mean, is it a superiority complex if it's just the truth?
So you're saying I'm better than all men?
Like a true Taurus. Like
But,
a true
well, and
Rebecca.
here's the thing. Even in this conversation, like, we're like, it's not about being better than men. It's about, like, what does it mean to be my best self by my own definition? And what is... Sorry, I got distracted by my kids.
Answer them.
We're talking about how to center yourself in your life and how to, like, focus on what you really want and how to take care of yourself.
By deprioritizing men.
Yes. Well, that's part of it.
Or just anyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Or
just men. And
deprioritizing the culture
Yeah.
that we're deprioritizing the culture that says
Sure.
that, like,
Last night
Barneys are
it was
less.
yes, men. Yeah, fuck men. And now I'm
That's
like
okay.
deprioritizing men, and you both are like, I mean, not all men, not my like.
I feel like we also were like, maybe we don't need to get on the on the podcast and like just be like, we hate men. They are so bad.
But also, there are two
We
children
love-
actually present.
We
so-
love some men.
They're okay. They'll be fine.
Or
Okay.
some men.
Well, and I don't think it's men. I think it's, again, I'm like,
Yeah.
people who uphold the
The
patriarchy,
patriarchy.
which includes women who center men,
Yep.
which includes like, and it may
White
not,
Christian women.
right, and it may not include all men. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of men who are working to like deconstruct their internalized patriarchy.
Yeah.
I'm still working to do that. Like, and I think
Same.
what you're saying is like we're at different points. I think men, because I mean, this is just the reality of what it is to kind of be someone who's impacted negatively by an oppressive system. You can see that system a lot more clearly than people who aren't impacted negatively. And so I think we're just in different spots, and maybe that's like where men or people who were socialized as men kind of need to start, is like understanding, how have I been taught that just because I grew up male that I'm entitled to certain things, I'm entitled to be listened to, I'm entitled to take up space, I'm entitled to speak, and how do I start undoing
Pee
that?
wherever
like,
I want.
eat whatever I want? Yeah.
Pee.
I'll eat. I heard eat whatever you want, and I'm like, yeah. Men do get to eat whatever they want. But
What's
yeah,
really
like,
interesting, so
their choices
friend
aren't
of mine
judged
is in-
the same.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Well, hold on. A friend of mine is in therapy, and he was saying that his therapist, who is a woman, one of the things that she told him to do is like when he's feeling something, to put it in a box and like save it for later, right?
Okay.
With women, it's like, hey, let's dig in, let's deal with this, like, let's go through this. So even like when they are getting the help that they're supposed to be getting, I don't necessarily think they are getting told the same things that we're being told, and to be told to compartmentalize and lock away that feeling you're feeling is still upholding that whole
Well, and that's-
patriarchal
Yeah.
mindset.
And like also like harming men.
Yes.
I also
Yes.
feel like, I don't think compartmentalizing is like the healthiest thing, but I feel like maybe I need to learn to create a container for my feelings, you know? Like, there are certain points where you kind of need to like work through your feelings and handle them appropriately instead of just like letting them be out all over the place. You know what I mean?
But then how do you have enemies?
Rebecca,
On
I
your
keep telling
own
you this
private
is
time.
not
That's what I'm
the
saying.
enemies
That's
show.
you don't
Jesus
Damn it.
Christ.
shut it down.
She's trying to make it
you
the
just
enemies show.
say, this is my hate my enemies, get revenge
She just
time.
can't wait. She's sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, Alyssa's here. This is the perfect time for us to do our enemies show. And Alyssa's like, I don't really have a lot of enemies. And Rebecca's like, "Ah."
But you know what though? Actually, that's a really good point, Alyssa, because maybe starting men with that, maybe that's like teaching them here's a negative, like maybe it's teaching them to recognize like the difference in emotions. And at least at the very start, it's like, hey, this is a feeling that I don't like to feel, and being able to separate it from the others. Maybe that's the beginning for them of like,
It
hey,
still doesn't seem right.
there are different ways to feel. I know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is I think that the patriarchy puts shitty expectations on all of us. And it's really key to start saying, instead of figuring out how to live up to patriarchal standards, and it's not just patriarchal, capitalistic standards, productivity standards, our like conditioning that we have from religious experiences, kind of separating that out enough to say like, well, what actually supports me as an individual human? Because I think that the messages we get work for some people. There are some people who compartmentalization really works for them, or like me, maybe it would have benefited me to have a little more coaching through like, here's how to like manage and contain your emotions when they're really big. That's probably something I could have been coached on.
Yeah.
And instead I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's just weird. And then it's like, creating space to kind of deconstruct all of the ways you're taught to be and judge yourself, and then say, okay, but what actually helps support me as an individual person? How do I center who I am?
Right. Well, that's a good point.
I lost my train
Very
of thought.
smart, Alyssa.
That's okay.
I had so much to say while you're talking, and now I'm like, I don't know. Oh, I think
We just said like
the thing with like, putting that in a box and putting things in a box just really kind of like, I don't know. There's like something about it that's very like patriarchal. And it's like, make yourself smaller, like how women are always like, oh, no, don't be loud. Shh, no, don't, you're too loud. Or like, oh, you're talking in a normal voice because like you have some emotion in your voice. Like, whoa, why are you so angry? You know what I mean? And it's like,
right.
women are told to like be quiet and like don't cause a scene, and everyone, I mean, women especially, but everyone in the world is just like, make yourself smaller,
Yeah. I think this can come out with being neurodivergent too.
Yeah.
Because
You know what?
it's like kind of comes down to like unmasking too.
Yeah. True.
But that's a good point about like the making a scene, because if you think about like the 80s and 90s like romantic movies, they usually ended with a man making a big fucking scene, like Pretty Woman. He's just like, climbing up the trees and being like, ah. So like that was like the only
Fucking spoilers.
the only accepted emotions are bitch, I swear to God, it's been 70 years. If they don't know, too bad. But like, or running through the airport in Love Actually, or just like, or even in big fights, like it's those two main feelings.
Yeah.
If they're allowed to have feelings, they have to make a big deal about it. Whereas
Hey, what?
women, like you said, are just told to make it small and don't make a scene. So it's still acceptable for them to do it.
Yeah.
And it's centered on other people's experience in that situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like what serves me, because it's healthy sometimes to have the difficult conversations, doing it in a kind and healthy way, but like, yeah, keeping it in or like not addressing stuff is, one, it's inauthentic, and two,
It harms you, I think.
Yeah.
It's harmful to whoever's stuffing it
men
down.
literally drop dead. Yes, they literally drop dead of heart attacks because they just give up.
and I think it creates a lot of loneliness too, because it teaches us to be not vulnerable.
I hate the whole like men don't have friends epidemic, but they really genuinely don't. Like, I don't think a lot of men do have friends, and they don't have the support. And there's literally three of us right here talking to each other constantly and just being our own support group. And I don't see that for men.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is there in some places and here or there, but like, I would like to see a lot more of that.
Yeah.
Like men having very like super close bonds and being able to talk about their feelings with each other.
Oh, but then they're gonna think
Like,
they're
safely.
gay, Jamie.
Good.
So, I feel like one of the ways that we have centered ourselves is like starting to build a support system, or like a family, or like a chosen family in a group
Yeah.
that's aligned with our personal values, that get us, that support us, that we can show up authentically with. Like, we don't have to mask, we don't have to perform. We can be vulnerable and hold space for each other.
Right.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot this week, about how like and I mean, even some women don't have this, you know? And that's part of, we were talking about why, like, that's part of why we created the Burnout Collective is, or a big reason, actually, one of the biggest reasons is community and being there for each other and supporting each other and talking about like how we're feeling when we're like laid off and can't find a job, or like we're having a hard time at work, or we're having a hard time at home with our kids, with our spouse, with mental illness, you know? And like I just think that's really important. And we're very lucky in that, like, we have, or at least I'll speak for myself, I'm very lucky in that I have such a great, like, supportive group of friends. And like a lot of you are badass fucking women. So like I'm surrounded by, when I was a teenager, I was so like tomboyish, and I was so just like, whatever, like I just can't be friends with girls, and like I'm only friends with boys. And yeah, it's embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. I think we all have a pick me era. You know? I get it.
Did you just call me a pick me?
Yes, at one point.
I'm gonna call you, and I didn't, because I was just like, nope, don't say it. But that's exactly what that is. The pick me
No,
girl.
it's not,
Like,
I'm not
don't be
criticizing
like-
you. I think that's part of like working through your patriarchy. I think for me that was how it got internalized.
Yeah.
For me, it looked a lot like when I started
literally
dating.
would tell people that I was an anti-feminist.
Oh my god.
Isn't that? No, God, now that I would. When I was a teenager, I was dumb.
No, I get it. I probably wouldn't. I probably would have said I wasn't feminist either. 100%.
I guess I didn't say I'm anti-feminism, but I was like, I'm not a feminist. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. Because like I was dumb and I didn't know what feminism truly meant. Which is how, honestly, a lot of adult men I still talk to now, presently, don't know. Don't understand exactly what feminism means. For any of you who don't know what
Did
feminism
you have a
means.
pick me era, Rebecca?
Not that she's going to tell us
I
about.
didn't. That's fine.
Hey, why don't you tell us about that time you like jumped on your friend's car? Remember that?
Well, you really want to fucking fight, don't you? Let's go.
We don't need to.
It's a good story.
You know what, Elyssa? I did a lot of sitting in my room, reading in my windowsill, and eating hunks of cheese and bread like they did in the fantasy novel books, and just a lot of weird shit, and playing with
love
Barbies
this.
at 13. So I'm going to go with probably was not.
I love this.
I would not be surprised if neither boys or girls wanted to be friends.
But I
I
wasn't
love
like
that.
trying to get with these boys. I literally
I
just
know
wanted to
that.
be like one of the guys, you know?
Yeah.
Feminism is you want everything to be equal for everyone. Point blank, period.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you?
Right. And we also want to undo the negative impacts of the patriarchy.
Yeah. Feminism is not about like lifting women up and being like, women are better than men and we deserve more than men. And
Yeah.
people like rewind to the beginning of the podcast. No, don't do that.
It's not even equality. It's but I think equity as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of men, again, what we're talking about with like deconstructing our patriarchal thinking or our capitalist thinking is something that would benefit everybody. I think people who are socialized as men would benefit just as much from sitting with like what stories was I told about what it means to be me, and which stories fit and are aligned with my values and who I want to be, and which don't. And I think that I had to do that very overtly as a woman, right? Like becoming a mom and like really challenging ideas I had of what it meant to be a good mom, or what it meant to be a good spouse, like these kinds of things. So, and I just don't know that, like, again, that awareness is there for men because of how they're socialized. But like, this is an invitation of like, maybe think about that and reflect on that.
It's wild that people don't seem to have that mindset at this point, and it's really unfortunate that our society today doesn't form these thoughts and viewpoints by default.
Right.
Yes. 1000.
Right. I love this. So we talked about values. So I think that it's kind of like we've talked about like deconstructing, and by that I mean kind of like pulling out the scripts that you're given of what it means to be a good person, what it means to be a good worker, what it like all the roles
And
that
like
we're
what
kind of
and what you believe in too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's almost like when you're born, you're kind of like cast into a play that we're all participating in, and you're like handed a script with certain roles and characters you're meant to play. And I think a lot of what I'm talking about with deconstructing is like really pulling out the script and like rewriting it.
The
and
director's
saying,
like, but you can make it your own, you know? It's like the director being like, you can make it your own a little bit. So like improv and like
Right.
do what you think. So you're like editing your script kind of. The script being how you were raised.
yeah, right,
I
your
got it.
conditioning
Yeah.
and ideology. And so, and I think it's like you start by editing it and maybe rewriting certain parts of it, but I think it gets to the point where you're like, what even is this play that I'm in? What's it about? What do like?
I don't
and
want to
I
be
think
here anymore.
that's a lot of what it means to center yourself. I think is
Yeah.
identifying what it means for you to live a good life. What is your life that's worth living look like? Because it's going to be different and it's going to be individual, and so yeah, a life worth living.
Yeah, like a life that that you think is worth living, not what society thinks, not what your parents think, not what your spouse or kids think maybe sometimes. And
Yeah.
yeah. And we talked too just about like the ways you can prioritize yourself even in like small ways. Like we were talking about just like small ways that we can like prioritize ourselves and like do what we want and not like depend on somebody else for our happiness or our worth. I was talking about, for example, when I got laid off, there was just a lot of emotions and also just a lot of like, I think, without, at the risk of sounding very woo woo, a lot of healing I had to do. And so I did have to take some time to heal. And then when I did, or even when I was in the process of doing so, I kind of was looking at these resumes I was sending out and I was looking at my website and it was all very like surface level. And it was very just like it was like Jamie going through the motions of here is my resume. This is what I do. I am an editor. Words, words, words. And I was like, I should redo this so it's more me. So not only is it like, hey, this is my skill set. This is my experience. This is what I'm good at, but also this is what I love to do. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for. And that goes for a role in a company because especially today, now, presently, it's the most important time for you to, if you can, be picky and choosy about who gets your money, about who you work for and who you're making money for. But so I spent a lot of time reworking all that. And I got it to a place where I was like, I'm proud of it. Instead of I'm just like, yeah, here's my website and resume. I'm like, I'm proud of it. And it says like who I am as a person a little bit, as well as just my professional experience, basically. And to me, that was me just like prioritizing myself and yeah. I don't know.
I think it's really validating when you make space, when you just do the work of clearing out space to say, I deserve to be seen in my authenticity, like as who I naturally am, and I get to be a whole human at work, in job interviews, like wherever you are, you get to bring your whole humanity and your authentic self.
Yeah.
Okay, so listening to the two of you talk, it's interesting to me because I'm trying to think through, but like in my experience, and I think this is just coming from the autism perspective, I've shown up as me my entire life. And
I mean,
and it's, I've been told like, it's too much, but like it's like you don't know how to show up any other way. And um for me, it's not been like finding yourself or recentering. It's been a lot of like hiding and like
That's what
pulling
I'm
back.
saying. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to say that I was finding myself. I'm not finding myself. I've fucking found myself a while ago. I'm saying that I wanted to put more out there about who I am as a person instead of just here is my resume and like portfolio and here are the things I'm good at for work. Because we do hide parts of ourselves at work.
Hmm.
Anyway, I just wanted to make that clear that I wasn't saying I was like finding myself.
And it's interesting to what you're saying, Rebecca, because I do think there's something, I think this is where like being neurodivergent comes in. When you're neurodivergent, you can't really perform the script. It's almost like you can't even
Yeah.
read it. You don't really know what people expect of you in the way that other people are able to understand that, like neurotypical people. But then it's like you can still see it. You just don't know what the like you don't know what it is, but you still see it's like something about how people respond to you is off. And it sounds like for you, you did respond a little bit with like hiding. And I relate to that too, of like feeling really ashamed of being goofy or loud or how we
Same.
present ourselves. And so I'm curious if you feel like you did start to mask over time or just, like you say, hide a little more. And if maybe
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
I think that's why I was so confused. Not confused, but just sort of like not connecting when you guys were talking about it's
Oh.
like a play, because it's like
yeah,
I I've been trying to figure out what the fucking rules are since I was,
yeah,
or, you know what I mean? Like it's never been clear what we were in or if it was a play, you know. So I think I think as I got a little bit older, I had coping mechanisms, but like I don't know, like I've still really struggled. I mean, there are certain masking things, but just as a person, it's like I've always kind of just been like, ah, here, and it's good or bad, and most of the time it's usually bad for a lot of people, but um, it's just like
I love it.
I just show up too much too fast, but like I don't know any other way.
That's how you find your people that also feel like they show up too much too fast.
yeah,
Right,
same.
right.
Me and Jamie were
So
talking
I
about when we first met, and you said like, you were like, you seem like you had a lot going on, and you were thinking about it, and like, I think it was like the third time we had lunch together, and I was like, so you grew up like religious, right? Like, let's talk about
Let's talk
that.
about religious
Let's unpack
trauma.
that real
Let's
quick.
just unpack
And
it.
you're like, we just met.
Here's my pocket lizard. Let's be friends.
So
Exactly.
I relate to showing up like a little too intensely at first. Exactly. Um, and having that sense of like, okay, clearly I'm not meeting the expectation, but what is the expectation even? No one's explained this to me.
Thanks for the follow up.
right.
So that really
Welcome in.
resonates for me too.
Welcome, Burnout.
And, and to me, recentering looks like making my world accommodate, putting accommodations into my world that let me move through the world the way I need to instead of trying. So it's not, I don't, that it's like, it isn't recentering. It's just making myself the main character
Yes.
as far as like what I need,
Yes.
and not trying to follow the play or
Yeah.
like live or make myself follow the play. It's just like I'm not doing any of that, and here it is. So yeah, that's been a lot of just making sure I do what works for me, and then being okay with that
And
and
that's how you
not
show
giving a
up for
shit if people
yourself.
aren't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So that's just in the past few years, like that's what I've really focused on. Is just, and I want to do that for my kid too, because I don't ever want her to feel like autism is like something that you should be doing anything other than just fucking existing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Or the ways that were like a lot of coping mechanisms for a long time that were taught to people with ADHD or
mhm.
autism were all about prioritizing everyone else's convenience or comfort around you. It was, hey, can you calm down so that we can be comfortable? Can you quit talking about this? I don't find it interesting, right? As opposed to actually connect, like building that shared connection. It was like, again, forcing kind of neurotypical standards on neurodivergent people doesn't work. And it's really harmful.
So sorry.
Yeah.
ABA therapy is a therapy type that they use on neurodivergent kids, and it's literally teaching them how to act. It's like how to have, this is your learning and behavior, and this is how you behave as a person in the world. It is teaching them like, hey, you're in a play and this is who you are. And so then they're lost to themselves for the longest time. Like, it's super fucking harmful.
Yeah.
It doesn't teach you to make accommodations or ask for them. It teaches you to like,
It essentially teaches you to mask.
Yeah.
To mask, to
Yep.
perform.
Hide more. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you didn't get the script, so we're gonna coach you through it, as opposed to what role do you want to have in your life? Like, do you want to be the creative? Do you want to be the scientist? Like, something that's helped me kind of work through this for myself too is kind of sitting with the question of like, what are my personal values? What's important to me that's unique or that's not unique? That's like, okay, this is something everyone cares about. And even like thinking about things like archetypes has helped me think about like what are the kind of roles, because they're not one size fits all, but there's a lot more roles than we talk about that are available. Yeah. So thinking like, what roles would I want to play in the world? What impact do I want to have? What would I like to contribute? And also what makes me feel like myself and like happy. Like what makes me feel like I'm waking up with purpose and enough joy and goodness in my life that I can handle being alive today.
I remember at work that there was just some shit going on, and I was talking to my dad about it, and I mean, it was like, it was bad, and I was affected by it and was upset that it was happening. And he was like, "Are you sure this isn't emotional codependence?" And it was like, "No, I'm pretty sure this is just being mad about shit that's happening in the world that's terrible." But like, it's like that kind of moving through the world, and when you do find out what's important to you, you still get people who are like, "Are you sure it's not like this kind of bad thing?" It's like, no, this is important. And
I like don't know where the camera is, you guys. I was like, whoop.
It's fine. It's just,
is it a podcast with the three of us if we're not flipping each other off at some point? No.
Everybody. Wait, do this because we can take a still, and this will be our... Okay.
That's actually a still.
That's going to be our still. And Rebecca's is just going to be her looking at us like, I don't know.
Love it. Wow.
Perfect.
Rob says wow. Yeah.
Hi, Rob. Welcome in.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, is I think that kind of what you're talking about is actually, I think, a little bit of a boundaries thing, where we like are looking to other people to tell us about ourselves, and we almost like trust what they say about us and our intent more than we believe our own intent. And like, I had an experience at work that was like this, where they made some changes that I felt like were really unfair to the writers and were really stressing everybody out. And I was kind of being a stick in the mud about it, because I was just like, this is not working, and I just need to be real honest with that, because I'm genuinely giving this a good faith effort, and it's not working. Like, I feel like the changes you made are genuinely making everyone do way more work and making the work more stressful.
And they were.
And harder. It was. That's true, it was. But that's the thing, is eventually it got to a point where like I kind of had this difficult conversation with my manager, and they kind of took it in a way where they're like, you're trying to cause problems, you're being disruptive to the team,
or you're trying to get less work.
Yes.
That's something that I've run into a lot for me.
Yeah, where like they view your intent of like, they don't really view, so like I know I'm operating in good faith, but like there was not that assumption of intent. And part of why that like messed me up, I had a breakdown. That's when I initially went to therapy, was over this situation. And I realized, like, as I processed this afterward, I realized part of what was so damaging about that was that this manager told me about who I had been at work and what my intent was, and I believed him over my own self. Despite having that day-to-day experience of like, I'm just really frustrated, this isn't working, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, I'm just trying to help myself and my coworkers be able to function well in our jobs. It was like, to him, he was just so upset about it and the situation. It was like, I don't know. And I think that's really hard, is to like hand people's stuff back to them and draw that boundary of like, just because you don't get what I'm trying to do here doesn't make it not what I'm trying to do.
Right. Right. Yeah, thank you. That's a much more eloquent way of the point that I was trying
Yeah.
to
People be
make.
projecting.
Elyssa goes, yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah, I know.
No, I just like heard what you said and I was like, yeah.
Whatever.
I think,
I'm the
No,
comic
I
relief
agree.
friend, okay?
Thank you.
Guys. Let me have my shining moments.
And we talked about too, like getting comfortable with who you are and being comfortable like doing things without other people and just being in the quiet and stillness with just you and learning to be okay and even appreciative of that and enjoy your own
yeah.
self.
Even if you're an extrovert.
Yeah.
Right, Elyssa?
No, that's true. I really value alone time. And it's really funny because even as an extrovert, like my alone time is going to look different than your alone time. I really like going to a coffee shop by myself and sitting and like I'm still around people. I'm still feeling like I'm part of my community. So it's filling me up in that I'm not stuck at home and feeling trapped. So that's helpful in that way. But I'm also like prioritizing myself. I have something I want to journal about or a project that I'm working on. And Rebecca, you had mentioned that part of what you do for this is like taking time off of work for yourself.
Yep. Yep. I give myself either half days or full days and I forget about them and then it's a fun little surprise, but
Yep.
like I spend the day doing whatever the fuck I want.
And sometimes
And it's not
it's
because my kid is
lying in
sick.
bed all day.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a family emergency. It's not because I'm going on vacation. It's just like a little special treat day for a little special guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get your house to yourself. You actually get to like
Yep.
be alone while everyone's at school or at work.
I get to watch stupid movies. I get to cuddle on the couch with the dogs. I get my hair done. Like I just do, yeah.
Like
And
actual
I don't worry
self-care.
about,
Right?
yes, yes. And the other thing I've noticed is I've really stopped. I can't remember the last time that I've been like, I hope everything at work is okay. Or like being afraid to take the day off. I'm like, fuck yes, I'm taking the
Good.
day off.
Oh my God, you're growing.
And
I'm so proud of you.
I know. I know. Because it's like I'm gonna get laid off anyway, whether or not I'm there, and I would rather enjoy this time to myself. And so that's made it especially that time is that has made the time I take off more special because it's like I actually enjoy it and I don't have like a nagging voice at the back of my head.
That's really nice. It's like you created those internal boundaries of like this is my time,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
and that's so important because
Yes.
you can when you do like you talked about this on the podcast, when you do that intellectual work, you take your brain with you, so it's like if it's in your brain, you're working everywhere. So being able to
Exactly.
have that internal boundary of like, no, I'm not
And
thinking
that's
about that
hard.
right now.
That's
It's fucking
hard.
hard. It took me years to develop that. What's that been like for you?
It's been very difficult. I think just within, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, but I think I kind of like helped Rebecca a little bit start to pull away and take days off because she
Yep.
was never taking even like vacation days. And yeah.
Or for you, like, I know when I was applying for jobs a lot, I kind of had to set a good enough standard with myself
Yes.
to be like,
Yeah.
once I have done good enough, once I've applied to certain jobs a day, whatever my goal is, I get to stop thinking about it. I get to step away.
Right.
I like, I'm still going to worry about it, but as much as I'm not going to choose to worry about it.
Right.
If it comes up in my brain, if it's like, oh, groceries, I got to pay for them and I don't have a job, like that's going to happen. But I'm not going to sit there and stew about it, hopefully.
I think we talked about this in our productivity episode, but one other thing that I do to like help prioritize my shit is I started, and that's something I just started within the last like year or two, probably just a year, is, you know, you have your meetings for work, you have your work calendar with all your meetings and everything. I started blocking for my personal shit. If I was going to go meet a friend for dinner, I'd add it to my calendar. Oh my God, her mind is blown. She's like, I've never done this.
I've tried, but not recently.
It's great. Like blocking off when
genius.
we were starting to discuss what we were going to do before the Burnout Collective was the Burnout Collective. You know, blocked off that time every Saturday. And I also put that specifically on my work calendar so I could see, you know what, this sucks. But that's what I get at the end of the week. I'm sorry, it's like I'm trying to like squish
No.
your face or something. But at the end of the like during the week, I just look at that and I'm like, sweet, I get to like hang out with, you know, my best friend and talk about our business and like what we want to do
Right.
and be creative and do what we want for us and the community.
That's it. That is, isn't it? The freedom to do what I want. Like at work, we don't get to do what we want.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
And
not
even on
needing,
days off sometimes.
yeah, and not needing anyone's buy-in. Like,
Yeah.
we talked about doing things like going to a coffee shop, but you talked about like going to a movie by yourself.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Yes.
Rebecca does
not
that.
skipping
Yeah.
like a concert just because you can't find a friend who wants to go with.
And that's hard to do. I was telling them I went to a music festival. My partner at the time would not go with me, wasn't interested. I didn't have any friends that were interested. And it was also like expensive too. So like I can't expect like everyone to be like, yeah, I'm going to drop this much on this like 3-day music festival. Last minute, my sibling ended up coming with me for the last day. But for those 3 days, I didn't know anyone. I just like, I think I posted on socials and like asked at work if anybody was going. And luckily I had a couple friends who were going, so like I got to see them, and then I went with one of my other friends who was very gracious to like hang out with me, I think,
Cinnamon roll.
because I was just
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot older. I was a lot older than Chris.
You were Steve December shimmy with the hello fellow kids. With
Yeah,
the skateboard over
basically,
your shoulder.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're at a concert. I was like, there's our friend Greg. Hi, Greg. He's like, stop it.
It was more like,
Stop it.
hi Greg.
Just let Greg go. If we see him later, we see him later.
But
Just
even
kiss
that is like, that's totally something I would do. I don't know.
That's not something I would normally do, is go to a concert or a movie by myself.
Oh, I meant yelling across a crowd to
Oh.
get someone's attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very
to
me.
everyone's embarrassment.
Yep.
But
I don't know. I'm tired of managing everyone in this house, like, and everyone at
And
work, and
yeah.
I just want to go away where no one can ask me a question and talk to me, and I get to like, again, yeah, you're right. It's just doing what you want. I get to make my own choices for me, and I don't have to make them for anyone else or tell anyone what to do but myself. And
Yeah.
I think it's like boundaries too. Oh,
you keep saying that boundaries were at a lead.
I'm sorry about boundaries. I guess boundaries is like
No,
really...
I'm just saying I know I don't.
No. It's not about you not having bad. It's like it's something that's been really hard for me to work, and I think it's everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it's about understanding where I end and other people begin. Understanding like that's your work to do, or that's your life to manage, and also because I'm trying to like manage your life. What is going unattended in mine? What is
Right.
like what needs are just I'm abandoning, in what ways am I just abandoning myself to like manage everyone around me? And like I think that's a very common experience for a lot of people, and especially women.
Yeah.
So
Marina says it's easier to openly weep at the movies when you go by yourself.
that's true.
Also, it's like, go by yourself. You can like get what you want. You don't have to like share your popcorn or your pretzel. Like,
I did go see Wicked at the holidays with some family members, and I was like so annoyed walking out of there because I literally was like, can I just sit down and just cry for 10 minutes straight? And I felt like I couldn't.
Oh no.
I probably should have, but I'm also like, we're like trying to celebrate Christmas together as a family. That maybe not. Maybe that was the container moment, you know?
That's
of like,
okay.
I don't need to.
I don't know who needs to hear this,
Yes.
Elyssa.
Yes.
But it's okay to openly cry at movies.
Right. Also, though, does Aunt Elyssa need to be sitting down and crying, like bawling for 10 minutes straight? And how will that impact
If you
other
were my
people?
aunt, I would be like, oh, I'd just be like, oh, cool. An adult that actually has emotions.
Maybe. I'll try it next time.
Right, kids?
I'll try it
Are there any
next
kids
time.
here? Kids, what do you think?
Okay,
What do you think
my
when
children.
your mother cries? Yeah, your children.
Actually, yeah, my children. Well, and that's a good point. I feel like the really interesting thing as a parent is because my kids are socialized so differently than me. They're the people who remind me of my values because they've been raised in alignment with them. And so sometimes it has been my kids reminding me it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel like it's okay to like we all get grumpy sometimes, and sometimes they're the ones being like, contain it.
And still
Yeah.
sometimes we cry in front of like, I'll cry in front of you guys sometimes and just be like,
Yeah.
and be like, I'm sorry. You know, it's like, why?
It's the
Don't be
default
sorry.
to apologize for it.
It's
No, and see,
demure
again, like,
when she cries. I
watch
steal her tears.
My kids.
I watch
says
Em
that.
look at me to like
Hey, Pat.
get an emotional check-in, like if I'm crying or like I watch her check me to see like what to read the emotional temperature. Like
You're
I
like,
know
don't
your kids
pick
are like,
me.
"It's okay to-"
You're like, I'm autistic
Right.
too. Don't pick me. Just kidding.
I know. I'm glad your kids are like, it's okay to cry because we're just like. So
Well, and I think
I'm not
part
the
of
best person to watch for that.
well, I think part of it too is you when you start giving yourself permission to do things, you can kind of like communicate that permission to people. So
Yes.
kids just don't know what to do when you're crying. They're like, "What's happening?" The person I count on for everything is upset. So then,
yeah.
when I have gotten to the place of acceptance, I can say, "Hey, I'm having a hard time. I'm just gonna cry because that's honestly the best option available to me right now, and also it's okay. It'll help
Just
me."
let it out.
Yep.
And so just like give me a minute.
Honestly, most people should
I'm gonna
like people
cry.
should cry more in public, you know?
This is how I'm helping myself right now. You don't have to do anything because this is the help. It's
Now
just
she
letting
tells
myself
me.
cry.
If you want,
I've been doing shit
if
for
you
3
want, you can-
days. And she's like,
And again, I don't know that would work for every kid. That's what works with me and my kids. I don't want to act like this is like a universal solution.
Oh no, yeah, I get it.
I'm joking with you in case you didn't know.
I don't think I even heard it. You just roast me constantly. I don't know.
I roast everybody constantly.
No,
I would
it's me
cry
in
in public
particular.
if it was accepted. This is JJ, by the way.
I would cry in
Yeah,
public.
I
if
think
it
more
was
people should
accepted.
cry in public, but it is like, yeah, we have that like fear of like,
People are, yeah.
I'm the wrong person to be in this conversation because, again, as I had an autistic meltdown in the DC metro and was sobbing uncontrollably just the entire way through, it's like, yeah, of course you're like, that's what I mean. It's just like going through the world, just like, blah, just ugly. And
but have you
here
not
everything
wanted
is.
to cry out in public and not cried?
Jamie, I
held it
literally
in?
cried live on this podcast. So
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no evidence of that.
There's no.
She's my best friend ever, Jamie.
So I think that's
But I
part of
guess-
it. Yeah, I wonder, like, how do we create space for ourselves to cry in public?
You just have a
we need
meltdown and
crying
you're too far
spaces in
gone.
public.
Right, but then you still like,
Every DMV should have a crying building next to it with like a courtyard, like a nice fountain.
Honestly,
and we can all sit
Starbucks.
by the fountain.
and every Starbucks.
Oh yeah, Starbucks is a good one.
They need to do some
It
reparations.
should be like Starbucks, where there's like one on
look,
every corner.
This could be their reparations for being awful as a company. They
Yeah.
can-
Honestly, imagine crying at Starbucks. The barista is just like, ew, what is wrong with her? She's crying a ton.
Ma'am, you're gonna have to leave. Calls you ma'am. 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 Rebecca's
Yes.
fave.
Yum.
Ma'am.
You can't do that here. You are making the other
Get out.
patrons uncomfortable.
Patrons.
Get out. Ew.
Marina says, I just cry on company time. Get paid for my tears, which I love.
Coincidentally, that's also what Marina does with pooping. So
This is, yeah. All bodily functions happen on company time. All of them.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that, like, part
So
of the
many
reason
jokes.
that we're not comfortable crying in public or that we hold it in is because we have that experience of being shamed. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, like, I think part of centering yourself is kind of handing people's shame back to them and saying, cool that you're uncomfortable with this. I feel perfectly fine. Like, it's a perfectly fine and acceptable thing to cry in public. Like, and I almost am thinking about it as like rehumanizing myself, giving myself permission to be fully human wherever I am, and kind of handing that shame back to people or the judgment back to people and saying, just because you judge me for crying in public, that's your thing. I know this is okay, and I know there's nothing wrong with this. And so that's the thing too, is like sometimes you can't stop crying in public because you do get emotional, but then it's like managing the aftermath of, am I going to sit here and feel embarrassed and ashamed, or am I going to be like, that was okay, this is normal human. This is me coaching myself. Like, I literally do this. I sit here and be like, it's okay to be human.
Yeah.
It's okay to need to have feelings. JJ says, it's very scary for people to feel judged, which is very likely to happen in public, especially if you become vulnerable. And a way of becoming vulnerable is crying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Vulnerability is a lot of it. Yeah.
Have either of you ever seen someone out in public crying, not like a child, but like an adult, and like gone up to them? Like a stranger?
Not that I can think of specifically, but I think I have either seen someone check on them, or like I've been like, hey, are you doing okay? Like, can I help? A lot of time people say no.
Yeah. I've done that a handful of times in my life. And sometimes it's a struggle, right? Because I don't want to make them feel like, because I know that's such a vulnerable thing, right? And so if somebody's crying in public, I feel like this is bad. So I think that's why I get the pull to like go say something. I mean, it's not like I see people crying in public often. I really don't. But a handful of times I have, and I think like a couple of the times it was like welcomed, and they were just like, yeah, I'm okay. I just have to like get this out or whatever. One of the times they were probably like, oh, my credit card doesn't work and I can't pay for my gas and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, you're fine. Here's like the $5. But there has been a time where they've been like, no, I don't need anything. Like, please, which respect, but it's hard, at least for me, to see that and like not check on the person.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to as well the ways that we're kind of taught to see or not see other people, or if we're taught like how we internalize the versions of us that are okay to be seen, and how comfortable we are being seen or not seen. Like, kind of, again, it goes back to that performance feeling of like, am I living and experiencing my life, or am I always thinking about how I'm being perceived? And my sister and I even talked about this when it comes to religious trauma, but like, we're kind of taught like God is a voyeur and he's just always watching you. And for me, at least, I internalized that in this way of like constantly checking of like, what would God think of my choices? What, having this invisible audience for all the choices I was making, and centering that guy's opinion over what I thought. And so that's a lot. But I think we all have a lot of versions of like, what would my dead grandma think about me and who I've become? Would she be proud of me? Would she be not, And
yeah.
Pat says, I actively avoid being seen at all costs. And JJ
Valid.
says, that's respectable. Love it.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Rebecca?
No.
I'm
still working on it. Come back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think some of being seen too, we talked about like prioritizing your own taste in how you present yourself and how you make choices, like making shaving my legs optional, making wearing makeup optional.
Yeah.
Making it so that I can choose to not wear makeup and not feel like, I feel a little more put together, and it's easier to be seen if I'm wearing makeup, but like I'll show up to a work meeting without makeup and I don't think about it anymore. It's not even like, it's like, this is fine. People can see my naked face. Yeah. It's not,
Yeah.
It's not
I'm
offensive.
saying I agree with that. Like, yeah, totally.
And you don't have to. That's the thing. Is like, for me, that was
it's
important.
what you're comfortable with.
No,
and what you want.
No, I know. I just no, and that's what I mean. I was just like nodding along, like I do that too, and I'm being a fucking hypocrite. I do not.
That's okay.
It's okay. We knew you were lying.
I know. I was lying and call myself out on that.
Yeah.
But even like, I don't know. Should I dye my gray hair?
I actually noticed for the first time ever that you have like some like pretty silver hairs.
I have so many gray hairs right now.
It doesn't look like that many,
That's okay.
but dude, they're so sparkly.
They are.
They're beautiful.
I know. I think they're really cute. I like silver hairs.
It took me a long time to get my mom to stop dyeing her hair, like as if it was like up to me. But like I'm glad she did. I think she looks beautiful. just like that. I really think gray hair is beautiful. One
Yeah.
day I'll figure out if I have gray hair.
Or, yeah.
What?
Yeah, and just not doing the male gaze thing as much, hopefully.
No, you're just doing what you want. I think we were talking about it earlier. It's like it's been so the past couple of years of going, I don't want to do that and just not, or like I want to do this and just doing what you want to do. Um, it's I don't care if anyone else doesn't like it. I like, you know what I mean? It's just been
Yeah.
it's so freeing, or like you don't have to you don't have to spend your time doing shit you don't, because we're again, I think I said earlier, we're all gonna be dead anyway, so I don't want to spend my time doing shit I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it too. Like, just like we're getting older and we're like, why?
How
Right.
many, yeah, how many hours of my life am I spending on shit that I don't care about? And again, some people love the skincare. That feels like skincare. It feels like
Yeah.
love. It feels like all these things. And for other people, they're like,
Rebecca
I
feels
just want to
very
slap some
targeted right now.
moisturizer on and be done.
I love skincare. I'm not gonna lie. I do this.
So, but it's really interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I think any time that you take care of yourself, also, it's like I've thought about this too, of centering yourself sometimes is as simple as giving yourself a front row seat to watching yourself put yourself first, or treat yourself as if you matter and you're important. And that can be like prioritizing the things that you care about, keeping promises to yourself, like following through on your like, oh, I always
That's a
wanted to
big
do
one.
this. And you talked about this, Rebecca, of how in your house that you're in now, one of the things that you like wanted to do was start a garden. And had you been thinking about that
Oh,
for a long
yeah.
time?
Well, when we were living in Arizona, it's like we had what could grow out there, but it's just like you couldn't really do much with it, you know? And so it was when we were moving back to Washington State, we kept talking about like what we wanted to plant and, you know, what we wanted to see when we looked out in the backyards. And one of the things they have around here is you can get your yards certified as like a wildlife, oh fuck, not sanctuary. I don't know what it's called, but it's like it's all native stuff. And so I was like, I want that. Like it was just wild and free and fun, and it just looked so lush. And I was like, I just want to plant whatever I want to plant. And so our yard is this weird hodgepodge of all different shit, but hodgepodge of just all different shit. But it's like it makes me happy, and I love
Yeah.
looking at it. And I don't know. It's what I like to spend my time doing. And again, I will say this out loud. Rob does the heavy lifting. I do the direction and management. So just,
Well,
I don't want to like stole gardening valor.
Oh, please.
and you said
Speaking
you
of
have, like, the little
reparations.
ferns growing in your wall, and the hummingbirds come and visit.
We had a hummingbird,
Yes,
like,
yes.
remember when I told you Elyssa and I were having, like, therapy, and I was crying?
Me too.
And
We took turns.
yeah, that was earlier today. And my window was open, and my back was to the window, but she was kind of facing it over here. And she was like, look. And a hummingbird was just there, staring at
Yeah.
us.
It was so cute. It stayed
was
there for
like,
like
Look at this
30
two
It
ducks
was
seconds.
like,
crying.
no, it was like, Jamie, why don't you ever fucking feed us anymore? What is wrong with you? I'm like,
Yeah.
depression.
Which
Please.
I then called back to Rebecca's conversation, because you were like, my neighbor, again, centering ourselves. My neighbors say don't feed the hummingbirds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a huge thing. Don't fucking feed the birds here. Don't feed the birds because it makes them lazy and fat. And I'm like, I will
Wait,
feed
who
the
told you
goddamn birds. I
that?
love seeing it's everywhere. Like every fucking forum, it's like, don't feed the birds. It's bad for them. And I'm like, I will feed the goddamn birds if I want
Yeah.
because A, it's food for them and I see them and I love them. And it's bought like blue jays and we have like a all black one with orange. Like it's just fucking cool to watch.
An
I
Oriole?
sound so old right
No,
now.
you don't. You sound like a Disney
No,
princess,
it was a
actually.
squirrel.
She is a Disney.
So you
But it's
sound
just
so you
like,
sound 17.
I will feed the goddamn birds if I want to,
Yes.
and I will give the crows peanuts, and I will feed the squirrels, and I want my yard to be like a happy place where everyone has a snack, and I like looking at it.
I can't hear you when you talk.
Fuckers.
I'm literally talking to myself.
Oh, perfect.
I'm so sorry.
I'll ignore it then.
I'm literally over here just like singing a rendition of about birds of "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to," and I was just like singing it very quietly. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Feeding wildlife with non-appropriate food is really bad, but with birdseed and suet, etc., it's perfectly fine. Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're not like, here's a bunch of white
Like-
Wonder Bread. Eat this, hummingbird.
Yeah. But I love what you talked about too, because like okay, how you're talking about it, you're like, I'm gonna put what I want in my backyard, and I'm not really gonna care, and that's so powerful. I love that too, because it's like, who even experiences your garden the most? It's you. Like, people will come
Right.
over and see it, but you're the person who's staring at it every freaking day.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to make it exactly what fills you up and what makes you feel good, and you feel like I can step outside and have
It's
a
like
moment
your
of-
body and your image. Like, it should be what makes you happy and what makes you comfortable.
Yeah. And also, like, what serves
Yeah.
your needs. Like, I'm sure you go into your garden. I can imagine that you go into your garden and it's like your nervous system responds.
And then the birds braid her hair.
You feel calmer. Like, I think there's a lot of wisdom in what we want. Like, you knew on some level there's something about having a garden, having it a certain way,
Yeah.
that will fulfill me. And, like, I fucking love that you just went forward and did it without, like...
Uh-oh.
You know what, Elyssa? I hear you, and I so appreciate that take.
can't
But
wait for
as you were
whatever.
talking,
Yeah.
it's actually just spite because our HOA is made up of a bunch of dicks, and so I just want, even the front yard is just filled with like a shit ton of flowers and weird shit everywhere. And
Okay.
I actually think what I'm doing is spite based and
Yes.
not internal
See,
joy
but
based.
Rebecca, but that's what makes you happy, is being spiteful.
That is true. That is
Okay.
true. That is very true. You know what? Let's bring
What
it
a
back
healthy,
around. I am doing what
what
makes
a
me
healthy
happy.
way to respect your demand avoidance, right? What a
Self-care out of
healthy
spite
way
is the best.
to rebel.
Yes.
You could rebel by like blowing up your life, but no, you're like,
Yeah, no.
actually, I'm just
gonna
gonna make
garden.
a garden and I'm gonna make it beautiful and fuck you.
I planted
I'm gonna
100
make a garden and
bulbs
fuck
of, like,
you.
these.
Sorry.
They're like 3 feet tall, purple flowers. I forget what they're called, but like I planted hundreds of them, and so they just come up weirdly, randomly in different places. And
What are they called? Do you know what they're called?
no, I'll look them up and
Are
I'll
they
figure them out.
gladiolas
But like,
or no? I'm sorry.
nope, they're tall. They look a little bit like just like individual stalks of lavender, but more bushy.
Beautiful.
I forget what they're called. But yeah, so to me, it's just like I want my life to look like I'm enjoying it, and it pisses off the HOA.
Beautiful.
Love it. Love it.
Damn the man.
I do change my hummingbird feeder. I promise. I'm very on top of it. So
Oh yeah, me
We
too. I
washed
did
them.
too. Once I couldn't, that's when I stopped. That's when I took it down.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm too depressed to do this all the time.
I love you. Thank you for that fact.
Is you-
Lupine is beautiful.
Lupine?
it's an excellent fact.
I love lupine.
Okay.
Ash says self-care out of spite is the best. Yes. I think even our like, fuck you. There's even wisdom in that. There's something there that you need. You need to know what I care about. Like, what matters to me matters more than the HOA.
Yeah.
Like, that's a way to center yourself.
Yes.
Do you take care of
Agreed.
yourself out of spite ever?
I'm just laughing that we're talking about
I love it.
Yes.
saying
Katie,
fuck you to the HOA.
You bought yourself that shower head. Like you do
We're-
take care of yourself out of spite.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's out of spite? Why is that out of spite?
No, you're right. Maybe not. Well, because you didn't have a job and you were still like, you were like, I'm going to buy it anyway. And
I thought I bought it. Was I already laid off?
did you?
I literally am like,
I think
did
so.
you buy it for personal time reasons? Is that what we're saying?
Many reasons.
Oh no, it's no. It's
That's
a
what I thought she was
filtering.
getting at. And I was like,
Oh.
what are you...
No.
I'm glad.
And I was like,
Just
why spite though?
Dirty minds. Cheers.
Okay, it's a Liatris. Liatris. Latris.
Ooh,
I don't know
that's
how
the
to pronounce it.
flowers.
Litterus.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It does sound like litter. It looks like
Litris.
litterus, but
I love that because
Liatris.
it sounds like clitoris. I'm so happy. This is fate, destiny, really.
I was supposed to be just implied. And Alyssa's like, haha, because it sounds like clitoris. I love you so much.
It does.
Some of us our autistic trait is being too literal. and needing
love
to state the punchline out loud. For ourselves only.
For no one else's.
Sorry.
See, but you're prioritizing
Are you
yourself.
messing with me? It's fine if you are. I just want to know. I'm just kidding. That's another
See,
thing
and
I
now
do.
you ask me that though sometimes, and you ask it to me fucking with me. Like that's actually the only time you've been
Yes,
saying it.
that's
I think.
true. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Are you
Well,
fucking
because I
with
think
me?
it's. Anyway,
We're fine.
but
Girls, you're both pretty.
I don't know. So are you.
Thank you.
I love your lip color. It's really good.
We're doing amazing. Thanks. We're doing so good. I'm very proud of us.
Yeah.
Rebecca and I always say our favorite part of doing the podcast is, sorry, Ash said literal or clitoral. That's good. Our favorite part of the podcast is when we start like the music for like starting soon. And oh no, it's before that. I'm sorry. Before we even start that, we're on video like looking at each other and talking.
Yeah.
And we always compliment each other. We're like, oh my god, you look so hot today. Oh, you look so good. It's our favorite part.
You do always look
Just
good.
can't help it. Hellebore is the other thing we planted, which is every inch of it is poisonous. I bought it because it looked weird and cool. I
They
did not
do
know
look
this,
cool.
but it will kill everything and everyone.
Good.
So gonna plant that in the front yard too.
Yes.
Excellent.
Gardening out of spite. I love this. You're just like, I'm going to be the witch who only grows poisons. If you want to disappear, so, you know. So if you want that, find
Yeah.
me. I love that.
Yeah. And I want purple planters in front of our house because Rob thinks we should have like 2 planters on the garage, and I picked like a purple plum color because it makes me happy.
Yeah, purple's great. We love purple.
I think so too.
It's so weird. The silliest, like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
little internalized messages we have of like, you can't have a purple planner, and you're like, why the fuck not though?
Even in school,
Right.
remember in school how you like it has to be black or blue pen, and it has to be college ruled or wide ruled, or
Yep.
get your legal pads, but only the yellow. It can't be the pink or purple.
No glitter pens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is like, for me, been a part of like my anti-capitalist deconstruction that I'm going through. And I know like deconstruction's whatever, but just like deprogramming myself from capitalism has been giving myself permission to do things that are a waste of time simply because they make me happy. And so like I think for you, like the gardening, like that's what resonated to me about the gardening. And for me it's looked a lot
and
like
you're crocheting, right? Like you're
Yes.
making like a
I've
ton.
been- I've been crocheting lately. I'm not making a ton because I'm making a lot of mistakes. So there's a lot of like, gotta back up. Okay, making progress. Oh, that looks bad. Gotta back up. But I'm learning,
That's
and
like
it's
us
really
with the
nice.
podcast. So
And I could explain all the benefits of crocheting, but we don't need to do that. Just like know that like I get so much out of it. It's so relaxing. I feel creative.
you want help, girl? I know a guy. See, I told you. It me. She's the guy.
Yes, that's right. Jamie
Marina.
told me you crochet. I would love that. Let's do it. So, but like crocheting, or for a while it was like painting. And even when I was painting, like I would notice I really like painting flowers. So when you said hellebore, I know exactly what that is because I painted a lot of flowers. And so I painted hellebore, and it is fucking gorgeous. I love it. But even when I was painting flowers, I felt like, is this serious art? Is this is this good? Is this too girly? Is this too this? Is this too that? And or even like as I started painting a lot, having people say like, oh, are you going to sell your paintings? Are you going to like, you know, like having kind of this inherent question of, is this thing worth doing if you're not monetizing it? And I know I don't think that was their intent, but I do think there's that inherent like assumption of if what you're doing isn't to make
I was
money,
one of those friends.
it's
You have to make it worthwhile. It's not
Yes.
you have to make
Yeah.
it.
it's not like you
mean
having
something.
you having a good time is not enough inherent value. You need to also be earning
Yeah.
money, which is
That's true.
ironic because making money from it is exactly what makes me fucking hate it.
Yes.
Arr.
It's like meeting Shady Vance
Yeah.
and then dying the next day. You said ironic. I had
hope
to.
my death is that epic. I really do. I really do.
That would be petty
Speaking
as
of
fuck and dying out of spite. So
That's how Rebecca will
speaking of
die.
centering myself, I tell you what, that guy died and nobody could talk about anything else. So good for him.
No.
Good for the Pope.
That'll show him.
The old Pope.
I
he
hope
was
when I
88.
die, everyone talks about me for like a week.
Met J.D. Vance. Died the next day.
And Jamie sings a parody song about my death.
I would love to.
Goals.
Oh, I would love
Goals.
to. Oh, listen, Rebecca's death, like her funeral is going to be this multimedia event. I have kept so many voicemails and voice messages, photos, videos, video
Same.
messages.
Rebecca, how do you feel about this?
She loves it. She's
Really?
for it.
I mean,
She's dead.
again, I will.
I'm sorry,
I don't
she
give a
will
fuck.
be dead.
Okay. I love this. Okay.
I mean, you can help.
And I would tell you what I think to your face anyway. So
I'll
like,
let you use the
whatever
remote
they
to
hear
the
in a
projector.
voicemail.
Sure.
That's true. That's true. It's like, we'll be like, yep, that's the Rebecca we knew and loved. Didn't hide anything.
Again, whatever they hear in a voicemail from me, I've already said to them, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
I think
I don't care.
My
And-
favorite was about when Rob got goats or was going to get goats or something. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Continue.
he wanted goats specifically for the goal of letting our dogs see the goats. He wanted to see what the dogs would do when they saw goats. That was it. He just wanted our dogs to be able to see goats.
Couldn't possibly pull them up on YouTube.
No. He has to see them in person. And I was like,
And wasn't this for your anniversary? Or...
yeah, it was.
That's okay.
Don't worry, Ash. I'll have the full Alanis cover on our Patreon.
Yeah. The Whoop says,
Another on our OnlyFans.
when I started my photography hobby, I feel like that's all I heard. Are you planning to monetize this somehow?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's really radical in a capitalist society to say this matters and is worth my time and investment simply because I fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I don't need
Oh my
any
god, we
further
just described
justification.
the premise of Rent. This is the whole premise of Rent, you guys. We just described Rent.
And we come back to Rebecca's passion of musicals.
I've also never seen Rent, so if you could like not spoil it for me, that would be great.
Okay.
The dog dies at the end.
Oh my god.
I don't know if that's a joke or not.
You haven't seen Rent either?
No. No.
Oh.
But
Uh-oh.
I would love, genuinely, I feel like I love musicals and I don't ever set aside the time to watch them. And I would love to get together and have an excuse to just like have a musical marathon. I will make you watch Chicago. That's like the one, that's my one true love.
Of course she's seen Chicago, please.
Yeah.
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 I love, so you did a Spotify, like, I don't know, it was like a
blend.
mate you're
Yeah.
listening. Yeah.
Marina goes, the
blend
dog
your
actually
music
dies
with-
around the middle.
And I love you, Marina, that you actually got the joke. So thank you so much. Thank you. It was just like, yours was like really cool fucking music. And I was like, How to Train Your Dragon, My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, you know, all the other musicals. And it just
I never
looked
even
like,
looked at ours, by the way.
Yeah. It was,
I'll have to check it out.
sorry. It's on my Spotify.
Okay, so this is one of the useless hobbies I have is curating playlists. Again, for me only, but I do listen to music constantly. And so I have spent hours, you guys, hours, to the point where like I think there was one day where I was supposed to be putting my kids to bed and it was like, oh, it's 10, because I was sitting there like, which song goes into the next one?
Do you
And we gotta
listen
have
to
it
the end
in
and then the
order.
beginning of
Yes.
I do that.
Yes, you have to do.
I
And you
do
gotta,
that.
exactly, and it's so fun. You gotta like arrange it. Maybe that's how like arranging things is fun. Just neurodivergence.
Yeah, it's just like organizing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
And then at the end you
That
have
makes sense.
like something that sounds really beautiful and like there's I like having different moods
such
in
a
my
good
playlist. So it's like the
flow.
beginning is like hype and rap and like we're getting, you know, and then you go into like some chill folk music and then there's like some funk in there or whatever. I don't know. I like it. So,
some death metal.
and that was something that I
Ma-
sat there judging myself for, like, why am I
Aphex
spending
Twin,
hours
Come
on a
to
playlist?
Daddy.
But I'm like, if I would do this for, like, a boyfriend, right? Or like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, my spouse. Why not do it for myself?
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
know?
basically the this year version of what we would do with CDs back in high school, where we would just make playlists and then like burn CDs for each other of like all the perfect songs that you've picked.
Yeah.
But doing that for myself.
See, I don't do that for myself. When I make playlists for other people, I do the whole like making it flow perfectly. For myself, I'm just like, I love all these and I'm throwing them on there. And I don't organize them for myself.
Yeah. Do you like listening on shuffle though? Because sometimes it can like.
I'm not
I like,
usually
yes,
a
I
shuffle
like
person.
surprise. No, I like a surprise. I don't like knowing what's
You
coming
like a
next. I like a surprise
surprise.
song. I like a surprise song
Okay.
because I
Just
don't like
to
knowing the
clarify.
playlist.
You like a surprise
Yeah.
song. Okay.
Yeah, I like a surprise
Yeah.
song.
Try doing it sometime.
I don't know.
Make yourself like a.
Curate it for myself. It's just so much work
Unless-
then.
It
Like when I'm doing it for someone
and
else.
You are worth the work too.
I know, but when I'm doing it for someone else, it's like I love you.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm doing it for me. It's like I know I love me. Like I'm awesome. I don't need
Right.
that. I don't need to woo myself.
When
I'll just
Jamie and
woo
I had a
Nick.
fight, she made a playlist.
That's adorable.
I didn't make a playlist.
I thought you did. You said you made a playlist of sad breakup
I said
songs.
I had a playlist of breakup songs and I was listening to it.
She had an existing
Why are you
playlist of
gonna
breakup
call
songs.
me
We
out?
should
That's
not make
so
one.
embarrassing.
I think everyone needs like a
I thought
heartbreak
it was
playlist.
I thought it was cute.
Well, and I was telling her that it's like it's so weird because I don't think there are enough songs about friend breakups or friend fights.
I agree.
There are
No.
some, but I don't think there's enough. We need more. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think the Disney Channel did a lot of those songs.
That Alana's cover is actually Marina's song. I needed to clarify.
Thank you for the gift.
If I'm
Marina.
listening to an album, I listen start to finish. Random music needs to be shuffled. I do shuffle sometimes if it literally is
Thank
like
you.
random.
Thank you. That's correct, Marina. That's correct.
Yes.
Marina's correct.
Yes.
So I definitely, and there are times that if you like throw a bunch of songs on a playlist, you shuffle that.
Do you guys listen to albums? I feel like nobody listens to albums but me anymore.
I would.
Like a full album? You would? What is that? I would. So the answer is no, she
Okay.
doesn't.
Actually.
Ash does. Nice.
Actually.
Good job, Ash.
I believe yesterday I was like, "Hey Jamie, can we listen? Can I put on
And
records?"
did we listen to the whole album? No,
And
we
I
didn't.
was ready to like get out a stack of 10 records
Okay.
and put them
But
all
that's-
in, start to finish.
Thank you for bringing up my trauma. I love it.
But that's okay. But you were like, that will stress me out because my record player is buried, and I'm like, my record player is literally on the storage room shelf. So you're doing better than me.
Now I gotta like clean out that little corner
You don't.
so we can play records. No, I'm going to
Well,
now.
because here's what I did. I was like, what record did I want to play? And then I was like, Alexa, play this record.
Don't fucking talk to her right now.
Sorry if I talk. Sorry for everyone whose device I just turned on. So Ash listens to albums all the way through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
I definitely do sometimes.
I'm an album girl.
What's the last album that you really liked?
Like a new album?
Or just an old one that you got really into? Doesn't matter.
Everything. Metric Live Out Loud.
It's good.
That's a good album. One of my faves.
Nice.
Is it Live Out Loud?
What about you?
It's Live Out Loud.
Me?
What about you, Elyssa? Yeah.
Jax?
I shared an album with you called Songs for Every Mood by Jax Anderson. It's something like that. That one's really good. Start to finish,
Yeah,
great
it is.
album. And then, but I have been on such a Taylor Swift bender for like 2 straight years. There is something about the way she puts words to the experience that I'm like, my soul is speaking to me right now. I understand myself more deeply. So the Tortured Poets Department has been on repeat for a long time, which I feel like hopefully none of you are Swifties, because I feel like I'm telling on myself a lot with that, but whatever. It's a depressing album is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
It's
Rebecca
like a
and I are
very
like, we don't
depressing
listen to Taylor
album.
Swift. We don't know. We don't know.
It's a very depressing album.
Oh.
So,
That's fine.
but yeah. Speaking of like
Depressing albums are good.
doing
albums.
things because they're important to you, I feel like the podcast, you mentioned the podcast has been that for you.
Yeah.
Like your creative outlet, your passion project.
Yeah, for both of us,
Yep.
it's just been like, I think it's also like opened up a world for us to be more creative in like different ways too in other parts of our lives. But we really prioritize.
Am I not supposed to look at you in
No,
person?
you can look at me.
This feels
I just felt you looking at me and it felt weird. So I was like, what is she do? Is she?
Do not perceive me.
I was like,
okay, I'll look at you in the screen. Sorry.
you can look at me however you want. Except not like that. Just kidding. But yeah, we've really prioritized the podcast and we prioritized meeting about the podcast and making sure that we go through with it. And yeah, I mean that's it. I guess we just prioritized.
Yeah, and like, how often do we have ideas and then we don't do shit about them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sucks. And like, how many work projects have I been forced to see through and project plan and commit to, and then never apply that to anything personal?
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's something that I was thinking about recently, is how much time and effort I have put into being a productive, good employee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do I do that with myself in my personal life?
Yeah.
Like, am I sitting there thinking like, am I on track with this project? What needs to be reprioritized? And like, I don't want to run my life like that. That's for work. But maybe a certain version of that would be like, you know, I don't know. It's like trying to, I don't know what I'm saying. Hopefully you do.
I'm not there.
But I guess like the ways that I've been willing to stretch and grow to be a good employee, and then looking at my personal life and being like, why am I not stretching and growing to be a better me, like for me, or to like be able to follow through on the commitments that I make of like, I don't know, live streaming on my book club every week, right? which I'm taking a break from currently, and that's okay. But that's something I want to get back to.
That's prioritizing yourself too.
That's true.
Taking a break from things when you need to, and knowing like when to take a break, and like
saying no to shit you don't want to do.
Saying no. That's such a big one, dude.
Yeah.
People please. That's actually how oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I've made specific appointments or meetings non-negotiables for myself. Like therapy, non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing up, and I'm not getting rid of that time. And like, because to your point, it's like you bend and stretch all the ways at work, and then you're totally empty. And I hate going back to the filling up your cup thing, but the only thing that's going to fill up my cup is focusing on myself. And so like, that is my non-negotiables. I go to therapy, I go to the gym, like I am taking care of me, and that is it. And I will make you money later. But right now, like my life growth has to match, because otherwise, again, burnout. That's exactly what happens.
And that's why places that have done the 4-day work week and companies that actually take care of their employees get more out of their employees, because they allow for that, so that you're not, I can't say to prevent burnout completely, because it doesn't.
No.
But to make it less likely to happen.
I think it's also like what you're talking about too, is I think a lot of companies put all of the responsibility to manage your health and your wellness and not burn out on the individual, without really checking in with like,
it should all be on the leadership team.
Elyssa, they have a crisis number you can call when you're feeling like you're going to kill yourself. What do you mean?
Right. You get a free subscription to Headspace. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
They
and
give you a stipend to go to a gym.
Yes. There's been times where the actual problem was our workload is too high. And I feel like what I was told was, well, maybe you just need to take care of yourself better so you can keep up. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think this is unreasonable. And I think that's really hard, is like having good enough boundaries and a clear enough like, oh no, I see what's happening, and not accepting that. And I think that's something you build over time as an employee. But I didn't know how to do that in my early 20s.
I love summer Fridays that are offered, but they tell you that you need to work even harder during the week to make sure you do all your work.
It's like taking vacation. To take a vacation, you have to do so much work.
Yeah. I'm like, just give me 7 extra days a year then. Like, let's not pretend. I don't want to work myself harder just to take up 4 hours. Just give me 7 extra days and let's call it.
Or I'll just like work a normal day on Friday and just be relieved that no one's chatting me after lunch. great.
What you were talking about earlier too, just like just sparked a memory that I completely forgot. But I had a manager once. My allergies can get pretty bad, and they're like under control now, but like they weren't at one point. So I would get really bad allergies that would like turn into migraines, and I wouldn't call out and not go into work. I would just be like, I need to work from home because like I'm a mess. And
Yeah.
after doing that, I think just twice, like 2 times, and this was like 2 times in the span of like 2 months or something like that. My manager was like, I think you need to buy more expensive allergy medicine. Like, I would highly suggest that, like, if you care about your job. And I was like, wait.
I hate that.
If you care about your job.
Right?
And like, how inappropriate to be giving you personal medical advice. That is so inappropriate.
Oh,
So unprofessional.
this child
I
was
hate
awful.
that.
Yeah, she was terrible.
Ugh.
Also very toxic. Ash says, we're all on the edge of burnout or past it, and these companies take zero responsibility for it. What are your kids going on about?
JJ is being off topic.
Guys, if gravity makes us stay close to the ground, and when we have zero gravity or low gravity, it's actually gravity, just like going in a different direction. Also, what if Earth, since it's built to support life, but nothing else, in our solar system
We're the ones
who's
whose gravity
is actually reversed.
is actually reversed. Like, all the other planets are pushing us into Earth. Mm-hmm. Are you okay?
I can't follow it. I can't follow it.
And then JJ says, all right, I'm ready to shut up about off-topic things. I appreciate
they're not
it.
wrong. They're not wrong.
I'm trying
Like,
I can't process it, so I cannot say whether or not you're wrong or right. That's
JJ
a lot of
heard,
words for my brain.
Center yourself and your interests, and said bet.
Beautiful.
And I love that for them. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Tippity typed. I didn't know doctors moonlight as editors. Glad they gave you medical advice. Yeah. It was like, yeah. I think it was too like, this is what I take, and it helps, and I'm here at work, so.
And I'm clearly...
She was a bitch. Anyway, moving on.
What works for me would
That's 'cause
work
she took
for
a bitch pill.
everybody, because I am the prototype of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
You are, it's true.
Hmm?
You are, it's true.
Yeah. Everyone just do what I do. And if it doesn't work, it's because you're wrong. Okay? Just
Why are we
saying,
ever
it is
worried
that
about
simple.
people catching clips of our podcast and like taking everything so out of context?
Yeah, and also
Oh my
like
God,
me
show everyone
earlier
your
being
shirt.
like, I don't want to develop a superiority complex. I already have one. Maybe.
Show everybody your shirt.
Oh yeah, my
Mine
shirt.
says defund the media, by the way.
If you look like this, DM me.
If you look like this, DM me. Love it.
If you want to buy me books,
Yeah.
come to
We'll
World
put-
Brothers
Again,
Bookstore.
We'll put
It's
Alyssa's
not a
Amazon
superiority.
book wish list in the show notes.
Like I said, it's not a superiority complex if you're right.
Well, and I think that yes. Okay.
I think that, yes.
Yes. I think that we're so taught to be like, I am worthless. I am nothing about, like, I think that's part of like learning to center yourself is learning to value yourself and learning
to hate when people compliment you, to be
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'm like,
which is actually a dick thing to do. Hey, here's something nice. No.
yeah. Yeah, how dare you? You take that compliment. Stupid.
Exactly.
Rebecca's like, I'm gonna cut that out.
No comment. Are you good at taking compliments, Rebecca?
No.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Who is?
I feel like I'm pretty good at it. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh.
I just did it
Well,
myself
that's
right now.
That stupid bitch.
I don't know. I feel like
You're so cute.
I feel again, but I guess I like classically had that view of like if someone's being nice to me, that's a nice gesture, and it's rude to like reject it.
I take them right up the butt. Marina takes her compliments right up there.
Right up the butt.
I can confirm. I've given Rebecca. I've given Marina several compliments. Right in the
But-
keister.
Learning to value yourself is that having that having that experience of I have a front row seat to what I've been doing the whole time and how hard I was trying, and I'm not going to lie to myself or like I'm not going to gaslight myself that I wasn't trying hard when I know I was, that I had negative intent when I know my heart was in the right space, and I'm willing to look at where that fell short, or wasn't like didn't fit the situation, or how I could do better next time. But none of that discounts that like I was trying really hard, and like giving yourself appropriate credit, I think is part of centering yourself and valuing yourself
and setting boundaries, which I know we've said a lot so far. It's Rebecca's favorite. But and setting boundaries, I think that's prioritizing yourself. Like I was talking about how sometimes I just have to not respond to texts right away, not call people back right away, and like it can be for many reasons, but sometimes like that's better for me, that's better for my mental health, that's better for my life, and it's okay to do that. And it's okay to say no, I don't want to go out to dinner with you tonight. Like I'm actually really I've actually been really depressed this week. Like no, you can't come over, you know? Boundaries and saying no.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say, I give the caveat with I'm going to sound like a giant asshole. Okay? Thinking about this as we talk about this, one of the things I realized I've been doing, fuck you, Jamie, is I've stopped pretending I'm stupid. Or not pretending, but just like not being as smart as I know I am out loud. Because it's not my problem if I make you feel bad that you're stupid or I'm smarter. I'm not responsible for your response to me being smart. And I've just kind of stopped, and I say what I think out loud if I think I have an idea, or if I know that you're wrong and I'm like, we did decide this, instead of like, no, it's just,
You're an asshole and I
yeah.
love you.
And kind of
It's
like,
just been freeing.
yeah,
It's been freeing.
And
I'm
being more
serious.
direct and not needing to like babysit everyone's feelings.
Being blunt.
You can just say how it is.
But I don't know. And again, like I feel like I'm doing a bad job of explaining this, but
Okay.
at work, like when you ask about compliments, like I have bad self-esteem about other stuff, but I've never had bad self-esteem about how smart I am. But at work, it was like I always knew like I was smart and on it, but like I would make people feel bad about me doing my job, but that never changed. But I just kind of always, I feel like, tap danced around it, or like went out of my way to just not make people feel dumb. But one of the things I think we worked on in therapy is like not feeling responsible for other people's reactions to you, which
Yeah.
is a whole other thing.
Yes.
And that's kind of given me permission to just be like, well, here's everything. And if you can either feel bad about it or just be like, let's work with her because she's smart. I don't know. And again, I realize that makes me sound like an asshole. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm half a gummy in, so I don't care. That's just what I think.
Beautiful. Take that other half, girl.
You got it.
Yeah, like speaking up and bringing the good idea out, even if it will leave someone feeling like, did I look stupid because I didn't think of that?
I don't say it like, oh,
Right, I know
actually,
you don't.
dumbass.
That's what I'm saying, is that's their own insecurity.
But she wants to.
Popping out.
But I want to. And I do after I hang up.
Too many people are ignorant and expect to be tiptoed around. Yeah. I'm sick of tiptoeing around people. Listen.
Don't do it. Just Hulk smash.
I think it's okay to just know what you. Okay. Yeah. I think it's okay to know what you know a lot about and what you're an expert on. And then to also, because I also know that you two have the trait where I've seen you do this. When you don't know, you'll just be like, yeah, I'm not really sure. Or, yeah, I'm not an expert on that. And you own that. And like, that goes, like, but.
Rebecca's like, but I do know everything.
You know a lot.
No, I literally Google it as I'm talking. Like, I don't know, but let's fucking find out now.
Yeah. And I think that there's something really healthy about just knowing, no, I do know what I'm talking about, and having that confidence to just hold that space without letting, and if people challenge it or push back, You're like, okay, I'm not moving.
Right.
I think, yeah,
Yes. Yep. And again, I think it's just it's getting to be like about to hit 40 and just realizing all the time you've spent bending to the world.
Making yourself smaller all the time you've spent.
I, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I just fuck it. I don't. I don't need more friends. I don't care if you like me. I make money with my job. I go home.
Oh
I
my
have a
God.
garden.
I don't
I
know if
like
you
to
know this, but
bake.
like I don't have a job right now, Rebecca. That was very
I
insensitive.
don't just mean like I don't need anyone else. I'm just gonna validate my fucking self and go do the things I like. And I genuinely don't give a shit anymore,
yeah,
which is really nice. It's really nice.
yeah,
Talking about working hard, I feel like we can work hard, but there will always be someone who's always trying to shoot you down. But they're mostly jealous of your confidence, but something they don't realize is that you finally boosted up your self confidence, and they are just wearing you down, so you have to build yourself up again. And sometimes we give up and we're just like
Mhm.
super depressed all the time.
yeah, yeah. I think that is what happens when, like, something that you just said is like, you're like, I don't care about having a lot of friends. And that's true. I think that you realized that who you have in your life is as important as who you don't give
Yes.
your access to you. And not
Correct.
being,
I'm not closed
it's,
off to like
yeah,
new friends or other friends, but
right.
like it's the same with like relationships and like dating. It's like I know we talked about this in the friendship episode, I think. Like I've learned all of these years, 40 years, I'm about to turn 40, what doesn't work, what I don't like, what makes me feel like shit, what lifts me up, what makes me feel supported.
Yeah.
And so I'm very careful about curating my friends,
Yeah.
my partners, my lovers.
Yeah. Pat says, I feel that, but I'm also over being bitter about how shit and unfair everything is anymore. I don't know. So jaded.
I'm still bitter
I
about it.
think, yes, there's two parts. This is just like stuff solely like in the me. This isn't me all the time. This is just, I think we're talking about like recentering those small bits of time that we get only for ourselves.
Yeah.
And and it's like the true pure form of that. And then we spend time being angry and furious about everything. But like, I think this is like the sanity scraps that we hold on to.
Yeah. I think
Because this isn't an all the time thing. Oh, sorry, I was gonna
no,
say
you're
this
good.
isn't an all the time thing. You don't go on trips to see Jamie all the time. Like we don't take centering shit all the time. This is just like
But we
the moments that
should.
you have. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to be like, well, I do this and this and this. No, these are
Yeah.
just like small blips in time or small pieces in our world of everything else that like keep us moving forward
Yeah.
with all the
Yeah.
other bullshit.
I love that you said like taking time to be angry or bitter the rest of the time because I actually think that is a form of being centering yourself too. Because again, what's the alternative? Sitting here and performing, convincing ourselves we're not angry about
Just
something we
perpetuate.
have every right to be angry about. I think giving ourselves time to be mad is actually like really healthy and an appropriate, healthy response to the world, the fucked up world we're living in right now. And so I think it's like finding this space where you can kind of give space for that when it's present without getting lost in it. Like I don't know how to do that
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm still finding that balance. And I mean the world's only getting more fucked up. So it's like I don't know. I'm having to re-find it all the time because things change around you too. But
I think also
yeah.
having kids around, like Jamie, you have your niece and nephew, so you have your kids. Like having kids around, I think you also start prioritizing things because you see all this beautiful stuff in your kid and you want that preserved as much as possible. So if you're not being an example of how to live that life and like how to, how to hold on to that, then they're not going to see that and they're going to lose those beautiful little parts of them.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like we're almost it's even more important because we know who's watching us, and we
We
want that
want to
for
be,
them. We want better for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
we want to be like good role models, and
Exactly.
it's important. I mean, even for like
Yep.
and for
Even for
JJ and
me,
Ruthie, like I want to be like,
right, or even for my friends, I feel like you guys consistently show up and model like friendship, prior, self-care, like
we're trying to
really
show you how to do the friendship thing,
healthy.
Elyssa.
I know. I've grown so much
I know, you're
because
doing
under
great.
your tutelage, under
You're-
your mentorship. um But I
Tutelage.
love what you said, Rebecca, too, because like it not only benefits our kids, it also benefits like the other people in our lives. I think
Yeah.
I'm having this experience where I'm realizing I can't really look to my parents' generation or the boomers' generation because in
No,
a lot
do
of
you remember when you saw your mom doing any of this?
no,
Do you remember any
no,
of your mom like
she's
being taking
she's
time for herself? Because I couldn't remember
she's
any.
still not doing it. She's still not doing it,
Yeah.
and I hope she figures it out. I would love that for her. Um, So, but yeah, I think that I did spend some time being angry and bitter because I'm like, no one taught me this. I'm having to put this together from scraps in my mid 30s, and like, I should have had examples, but I do have examples. Like, and this is again, I think where it goes to like creating a support system, removing people who are like shitty, and you're like, I don't want to reinforce this way of being, and so maybe you need to be a little further out of my circle, but then pulling in the people in our circle, thinking about like who makes me feel good about myself, who is like an example, who is like modeling self-love and self-care, or whatever you want to work on. Maybe it's like being good at routines or schedule or being consistent, especially like if I have ADHD, I do have ADHD, probably not diagnosed, but it's like I've really loved seeing the ways that you have been really consistent with the podcast, and like seeing that example of you can be consistent with ADHD. It's just going to look different. Maybe you stay up till 4 in the morning once in a while working on something. Maybe you,
Go on.
what?
I said, go on.
Oh, okay. Or maybe you focus on things that are interesting, and you're consistent about it because you're choosing to invest in things that you naturally would want to do and are fun. But anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted to hype you up and be like, thank you for all the modeling that you do for me. I feel like
for being a friend.
I know how to be human from watching you guys. Like I'm always benefiting from that.
Yeah, we're your elders. So
Yes, you are. The people I look up to.
It has been interesting, like with my grandpa dying, my mom has taken on more of like a caregiver role to my grandmother, and it's watching her start to make time for herself and do things for herself. And it's really good to see. It's like, so it's not, I mean, it's not too late. And so I know we're being role models for each other, but I also think we may be being role models for like our parents.
I mean, we can only hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey,
And
can
I don't mean that in like a cunty conceited way. I just mean like I don't think their parents told them to prioritize themselves or anything about them. So like I'm saying that with,
yeah.
I don't think it's anything they just knew how to do. And so, somebody's showing them how to do that. And I think they're doing that. Like I know my dad plays in an orchestra. My mom has her friends that she goes out to lunch with. And so it's like it's nice to see. Because I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, Mom, do you have any friends? She's like, I don't need friends. I have your father. And I was like, ugh, that's just one person.
Ugh.
It's not a support
Also, like,
system.
Have you seen
also,
Dad?
and
Just
And I
kidding.
was like, also, it's a boy. So, but like now it's nice to see them take care of themselves. Because I think also watching their parents die, they've realized that you're going to die anyway. Like, I think even more closely and intimately than we have. And so, I don't know. Again, all of that just sounded super superior and I didn't mean it to.
No.
No, it didn't. No.
I'm glad our parents are doing that. Like, I'm glad
Yeah.
because they deserve to be happy too.
Yeah.
Marina's mom finally divorced her shitty husband within a year of Marina moving closer to her.
Holy shit, with a year?
Marina's like taking credit.
I
She's
love
like, it
that
was
for
me.
I love that for both of you.
No, I love that for your mom so
I love
much.
that for both of you. Good for her.
For Marina's mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a thought, and it was, oh, Okay, we've talked about when people have judgments and they kind of project onto you. And something I've been thinking about is that sometimes, so a little thought exercise I've been doing is like, if I'm being true to my values, like for example, like something that I have actively worked on. And again, this has been a process. When I'm like, it's great to prioritize watercolor, it's because I sat there fucking coaching myself through, can I do this? Is this worth my time? Is it, it's because I sat there and said, yeah, why wouldn't it be? And I sat with like the contradictions and the thoughts, and like I got somewhere and I got to what was really important to me. But it's been interesting to notice a lot of people will share things about their relationship to art with you, or like if you're doing something, maybe like with the podcast, people say things to you like, oh, I always thought about starting a podcast. And they kind of share these things with you. And I think there's something really beautiful that happens when you start putting yourself out there and being more authentic, is some people don't like it. But even in the people who I'm like, maybe this is confronting to see me make time for art in my life, and maybe that's good for you. Maybe it's good for you to be confronted by the fact that people can prioritize things that you think are stupid. Because like, what is that about for you? I don't know. Is it that you're judgmental? Is it that you wish you would give yourself permission to do things you enjoy and you don't, and so you feel like no one else should either? Like, again, people are just projecting, and that's kind of what, like, realizing that, again, having that boundary to hand them back their shit, but also recognizing, like, I'm just reflecting back to you something that's in you, and I don't know what it is, but, like, that's good. Like, it's good for me to be modeling this way of being in the world, because I feel like it's healthier. It's helping me. Like, I feel good. And I would love to have more models of people feeling good in their lives and creating a life that's worth living for them. I would love to see all the different ways that looks.
Again, what you just said, for me, it's the complete opposite. It's like when people do project, because I already don't know how to people, or I don't know the rules of peopling, then I assume like, well, then they must be right. And I think that's where a lot of the self-esteem issues come in. I can't give them back, because I was like, clearly the real people are telling me that this is how we people. And so, I mean, okay, it's on me. And so that's something I think
Just ask me.
I still really, really struggle with.
I'll tell you.
Well, and I think that's where it's helpful to note, because even how you're talking about it, I see you having self-awareness, recognizing something you're not great at, and then maybe, like Jamie said, just ask me. You have a skill or like something to fill in with that, where if you don't feel like you can trust your judgment, you can go to Jamie and say, is this a valid piece of feedback? Is this accurate? Or is this person being an asshole?
Say, fuck no, fuck them.
I go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is been more honest and therapeutic.
I thought she was going to say then Jamie.
Yes.
Well, it is, because you're my best friend, and so like there's still something there that like you don't want to hurt me all the way, you know what I mean? So like ChatGPT isn't gonna hold the fuck out.
I'm pretty fucking honest with you all the time.
Well, here's what it is. I can just
you know what I mean, though,
I can order ChatGPT to be honest and unbiased, and it will be. And I just know it will be.
Yes. Yeah. It's objective.
I don't take
like,
orders.
At the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we can't be objective really and truly 100%. ChatGPT is. And so that, ironically, is where I have turned to, did I people right? How do I people better?
And I think it's like what you said is, like, I believe you that you're honest, right? And I think there's also that question of like, is this person telling me the truth? Like, would they protect my feelings? And I think those are all fair. And
but you also don't have that with a lot of people usually.
Yeah.
That's true.
Meaning people who will be honest with you.
Yeah.
And like be like, yeah, I think you were kind of in the wrong here. Yeah. I was telling you this earlier. I have loved that in my life and valued it. And there's been times when you called me out, like, as a joke, you were like, Elyssa, that was a lot.
It was a half joke.
That was a lot, right? But it got me to reflect on it and be like, oh, because I think there was one time where you were with me and someone else, and like I spoke to them in a way where you were like, that was a bit much.
I was like, whoa, Elyssa.
That was a little rude. Ha 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 ha. And we laughed.
And I never thought about it again.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Right. And later on, I checked in with that person and I was like, hey, Jamie, Jamie pointed out in the moment, like, that was a little harsh. Did that come off that way? And they were like, yeah, actually. And we had a conversation. And that, like, I really love and value that, like, having people who I trust to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Especially because we can't always trust ourselves. And we're still learning to do that. And
I mean, it is hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's the hardest, I think, to, like, hear the truth. But it's also hard to, like, tell people the truth sometimes, especially when it's somebody you care so much about, which is crazy because it's like you care so much about them. So
Yeah.
just be honest. But it's also like, but I don't want to hurt them, you know?
Yeah. Or sometimes, like, if I'm asking for the truth, am I really prepared to hear it and manage my reaction to it instead of making them, like, shooting the messenger?
Or, like, asking for advice, asking a friend for advice, and, like,
and then
not
being
truly
mad.
not truly being, like, open to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to agree with me secretly. Like, I don't really want you to agree with me that I'm doing it okay. Yeah, no, I get it.
Sometimes I feel like if I am going to ask for honesty, I'll, like, leave space to be like, I want your honest answer, but then I need to go think about it before I'm ready to talk about it because it might hurt my feelings at first, but that's okay.
So you need to, like, take it and sit with it for a little bit, and then
Yes.
yeah.
Like, I might not ready to.
I think
I
that's
might
completely
not
fair.
be ready to take
That's a
that
boundary.
graciously.
That's a boundary. That's a
Yeah.
great boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that is part of
See,
centering
we're
yourself
healthy.
too,
We have
is
boundaries.
recognizing your own needs and owning them and being in charge of them. And then handing other people's needs back to them, right? If you need me to, like, being honest, I don't know that I can give you, like, a reaction that makes you feel comfortable about telling me the truth. So I'm
Right.
going to be honest about that up front and let you know I might look upset, and that's okay. Like, it's still, like, the medicine that you will give me by being honest is still, I still want to take it even if I got stink face while I'm doing it, which is what
Show
happens.
us your best stink face. That was many
Ooh.
stink face eye.
There's so many negative traits to react. I have to have a range, right? Oh, you're pointing out my insecurity. Oh, you're pointing out my forgetfulness and the ways I can be inconsiderate. Like, you need the range.
Right. And I'm going to meet you with, again, the opposite. I have begged people to tell me the truth because I don't know until you tell me. And then when they tap dance around it and I think, oh, it's the truth, but I have missed all of the, like, subtleties.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you told me this was the truth.
Yep.
So, like,
And some people will just
I
lie.
need it.
Some people aren't comfortable
Yes.
telling the truth. Yeah. And so I
Yes.
think that's where it's
So,
good
like,
to know your people.
I need it.
Yeah.
Like, who.
Right.
And you messaged me one time about, it was like you were trying something on and you wanted to know if it would look good, and you said, I'm asking you because I know you will be honest. And I think you also trusted me to be kind if it didn't look good. And I also was like, because you're asking for honesty, I will be honest. And I was like, it looks great, and it did. But if it didn't, I would have been like, I don't know if that would be my pick.
I did that with you when we were drifting. Yeah.
Yeah, like, is this good? Mm-mm.
Right. Right.
So that's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
So that's so nice.
That's so nice. Do you feel like you guys have done a lot of work understanding, like, your values and like, what's important to you?
Yeah, don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good place
Again,
to
it's
That's good to leave it sealed. Here's the core value of this podcast. Don't be an asshole.
The autistic sense of judgment, again, has been there since, like, and it's just been like, it's very black and white, it's very right and wrong, and, like, it's just, there's not been a whole lot of introspection. It's just been sick.
I mean, when I say don't be an asshole, like, some of that is very specific things, like, to me, that, like, I think, like, if you're walking towards someone on the sidewalk, two people toward two people.
Yeah.
And one couple scooches over to the right a little bit, and the other couple is like, oh, they scooted over to the right, so we're just going to keep on plowing through the same straight path, and they don't also get over. Those people are assholes.
So it sounds like for you, being aware of others and being considerate, like considering them, is a value for you.
When I open the door for you and you walk through, not saying thank you,
Rude.
first we'll elicit a, you're welcome. from me. And second is very fucking rude.
It is.
Intention is always my focus.
That's a good value. Like living your life on purpose. I think that's a lot of what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
Q does that. Q's great.
I love that.
Do it, girl.
I actually I've done a values exercise, and I think this is a really good way to start thinking about how to recenter yourself, is actually sitting down and like defining your values. And if you have a therapist, this is something you can do with a therapist too. This is something I did with my therapist, I think, actually, is like actually defining what is important to me. And I think it ended up being like purpose, creativity, and something else that I don't remember, which is funny.
Family.
It's like, top 3 value, can't remember it. Candy?
Family.
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 I heard
But
candy?
also candy.
Candy.
By the way, I've complimented on your candy taste like no less than 4 times.
Really?
I'm just like,
I only remember the once.
that's maybe I've just been thinking it every time I'm like, ooh, Sour
She's
Patch
like
Kids.
taking my candy. and
Well, I
she's
feel like I
love your candy."
keep like, first it was the high chews, but I don't know.
Ooh.
I love it. Candy is my number 1 value. I love candy.
I love
It's
candy
so
too.
good.
Candy is.
I
Yeah.
love fruity candies.
Wait,
You
what
had
was I
sweet
gonna
tart,
say? You reminded me
jelly
of something.
beans. Elite.
Gush-
Elite.
Gushers.
Did you try the yellow
Gushers
ones?
covered.
They taste like yellow Gatorade. It's very weird and off-putting.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Gushers.
Gushers.
Gushers coated in sour powder.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
It hits so many
love that.
different like
I didn't need sour
Gushers.
Skittles. I needed sour Gushers.
Freeze-dried
they're
sour
delicious.
Skittles, though. I don't have any of those right now. Literally eating Jolly Rancher jelly beans right now. Nice.
Good
I
for
couldn't
you.
find those. That's what I was trying to
Those are
get.
good.
But I got the sweet tart ones.
Do you know what I love is like, do you know the little like nerd
Balls.
balls,
Foster's?
but they're like crunchy on the outside? Those were an Easter
Yep.
only candy for a long time, and now
Oh.
they're standard, and I love
realize
that. Nerds, whoever's in charge of that, you're doing God's work. We love you. Number 1 fans over here, because like the
Sponsor
little nerds,
us.
the nerds rope bites. Ooh, so good. We needed those.
Oh,
Just such good
they're
work over
they're
there.
just like, yeah, they're perfect.
Yes.
Just crunchy and chewy and sour and yeah, they're perfect. I'm sorry, I'm starving and
Oh
No.
no, good. Okay.
Don't apologize.
So
Do you have a feeling?
to end on the value of don't be an asshole, core value of this podcast, but also take care of
Oh,
yourself.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You were talking about like your value, like individual, and I was thinking like, that's what I've talked to my father about this a lot. That's what I think about, with like companies, right?
Yes.
You want to see that
Yep.
like their values, what their values are. I mean, I guess with companies it's kind of hard because they can have certain values on paper and not really live up to them. But that's one thing, and that was I think one of the things that took us so long to start the podcast is we really kind of wanted to get down like the language on our site and like in any messaging to really reflect that, like to really, and that's actually what us doing that was what triggered, I think, me deciding to update my stuff, like my personal site. But we spent a lot of time just writing like a couple paragraphs, you know, because we just wanted to make sure that like our values were there, and yeah.
And that you
but be
understood
honest and make sure.
the mission. And
Yeah,
that you were
like your
aligned
mission
on what
statement.
you wanted this to do in the world.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think it speaks to also like when you're looking for a job or when you're with an employer, the importance of finding something that's a good enough fit for your values, because it can, like, part of burnout can be that tension between
The
your personal
misalignment.
values and the place that you work. And sometimes that's
Yeah.
being asked to disregard yourself, but sometimes it's doing work that you know is not making the world better or is having very little impact, or it's just
It's a moral injury, right?
Yeah.
And that shit sucks. That shit sucks. And it's hard. I don't know. To balance, like, how evil is this company I'm working for? I feel like if you're asking yourself that, maybe.
But to be clear,
Maybe that's your sign. as someone who sat with
sometimes
that
you
a little
just
too long.
well, you also just like need a job sometimes, and
that's
there's
true.
nothing wrong with that.
I was gonna say, I mean, sometimes evil pays the paycheck.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, what level of evil is acceptable? And then now you've compromised your own
If
morality.
any evil
and...
companies are hiring right now, I'm available. I'm available.
Yeah. The Whoop says that balance of company and personal values is the exact reason I moved halfway across the country a few years ago.
Wow.
I hope you moved because you found a company that matched your personal
Yeah.
values. Congrats. That's great.
Dismantle the
Yeah, also
evil
what
from the
company is it?
inside, Marina says.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drop that company name in the comments.
Yeah. It's a
Dismantle
good
the
company.
evil
Are they
from the
hiring?
inside. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I would say my current company is actually a really good values fit for me. They really care about DEI. They really care about like prioritizing the customer and keeping costs low for the customer. Part of that is actually their competitive edge, right? Mm-hmm. But I knew that going in, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's possible. It can take time, it can take effort, and obviously it wasn't totally up to me whether I got that job.
Oh, it sounds like Whoop just like moved from the Midwest to the West Coast. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, so you moved to
or East Coast to West Coast.
I'm going with Washington.
I'm gonna go with
if
California.
I read that right.
California. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Washington.
I'm a transplant too. I'm from the Midwest.
Oh, Oregon.
Oh, Oregon. Nice.
Yeah.
We're all like, yeah. I'm from Michigan, and I live in California now.
Yeah.
For a decade.
I think that's a good point too. Like some places do have really weird work culture. Like I lived in North Carolina for a year, and I remember feeling like you guys take this a little too serious. Like this is a little
they say like East Coast it's just so hustle culture, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just
that was the job where I told you like I got really bad heartburn one day, and I left like it wasn't super early. It was like 2 hours early.
Yeah.
I didn't have Tums. There weren't any in the office, and I was like, listen, I cannot concentrate. I gotta go. I got heartburn, and my manager was like, really? Heartburn? Okay, you know. And again, back to the like.
It's like, have you never had bad heartburn, bitch? Come on.
Apparently, she hadn't.
You're not gonna, right? You're not gonna sit and suffer at your desk for another 4 hours. No.
Right, and like, are you? Is it really your place professionally to tell me how to manage my health right now? No. But yeah. So I think that like finding places that match your values is helpful. Yeah. Or if you're somewhere that you know doesn't match your values, whether that's a company or like a location, a state, a city, prioritizing finding like-minded people within that place can be good. Like we worked at semi-toxic to toxic workplaces when we met, and we found each other because we were like, oh, you're like me. You're sick of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Also. Yep. Yeah.
We're like, okay.
Undercover.
Yeah.
So don't be an asshole, and find other people who are not assholes.
Find other people that you can just be silly assholes to.
Yes.
Or be the asshole you want to see in this world.
Yes.
That's the title of the podcast. Be the asshole you want to see in this world.
Prioritize yourself out of spite. Be an asshole for good and justice. I love this.
Oh my God.
This. A girl after my own heart.
Q, stop being obsessed with Rebecca.
No,
you're supposed to be obsessed with me.
Oh, no, I love it.
And knowing you're smarter than everyone.
How dare you?
Yes.
I love this. Those are the three tenets.
Nurturing
in this world.
Yes, nurturing a superiority complex, actually. Knowing
maybe I won't make time to see you when
better.
I'm in Portland. It's fine.
Jamie, it's okay. You can be smart with me.
I was talking to Q.
Oh,
yeah. Wait, why don't you guys get together? You guys should get together.
Yeah, what the fuck? I'm in Vancouver, Washington. Interesting.
Yeah, get together since you love her so much.
We'll chat later. Maybe I could have a real life friend. Now I'll have 3 friends.
Yay.
Jamie, I'm not telling everyone the exact city where I live, so I'm saying Vancouver. So
no, I was actually just asking Q.
Oh, never mind.
It's all about you, Rebecca. Jesus fucking Christ.
Actually, I'm centering myself, and some things are about me. And
Well,
some
we've
things are about
reached
you,
the end of the
Rebecca.
podcast.
Go away.
Everybody did a
Is that
good
how we're doing
job.
now?
Go away. Apparently, I said that at the end of one of our shows, and Rebecca can't get over it. I was like, well, that's the end. Go away.
Go away. Quit perceiving
My
me.
favorite.
Well, part of the slumber
That's
party
great.
is that you eventually are supposed
Okay,
to
bye.
slumber.
And
Yeah,
also
we gotta
that
go take
spite
a
is
nap
what
at
keeps you
8 p.m.
yeah, it keeps you angry for the other shit. Like just yeah, be the asshole, stay angry.
There's a lot of
But also-
constructive energy in rage.
Take yourself out for manicures once in a while.
Yes. Just girly things.
I tried to see if she wanted to do
Really
that while
thanks.
she was here, but
Redirect your rage, embrace it, and then get a manicure. Just girly things.
or buy
Yep.
a Theragun, you know.
All right. I don't know why. We fell.
Rebecca's like, God damn it. Okay,
God damn it.
sorry.
Now I gotta perform.
I feel like look at
dance monkey.
Don't-
Dance.
don't you-
Oh.
don't you feel like we're like the therapists? Like
No.
we're like,
Oh, it feel well. I don't know.
lean over here. Come on, we gotta be like.
I'm not gonna try to guess how I'm being perceived right now. It's not good for my mental health.
I'm talking about Rebecca.
How are you perceiving me, Rebecca? I can just ask her. Do I feel like a therapist to you?
Wait, like you're my therapist or I'm your therapist?
No, us. I think we're like, yeah, go on.
Oh.
You three are very cool.
I don't think
Hi,
Rebecca's
Mom.
thinking about it that much.
Hi,
I
Mom.
really genuinely am not.
Yeah.
Well, my mom thinks we're cool, so
Isn't that such a relief, though, to realize, like, no one's thinking about you that hard? Especially not negatively. Most people are
Okay,
not.
so the thing I noticed is that after I hit like 27, 28, men did
Milligrams.
not talk to me
Oh.
ever again, like out in public. I didn't get hit on. Men didn't talk to me. And it's like you're almost invisible. And it's kind of such a relief that you don't have to be perceived or deal with that bullshit
Yeah.
at all. I don't know. It's just very freeing. Just move throughout the world because you know
Be free.
they don't.
Also, how sick is it that the age for catcalling is, like, 12
Oh,
to 28? Like, men will catcall a 13-year-old before they will,
yep.
like, a
I
40-year-old.
know. Friday,
That's sick. Get help.
Yeah.
If that's you, get
we're
help.
being catcalled right now, right at this moment.
That's true. You did pipe up.
No, it's true. Men start hitting on you at like 13.
It's so weird.
And then-
I got hit on by a
Oh.
28-year-old this week, so it's fine.
Ooh, very nice.
And then I was like,
nice.
I'm 40. Sorry.
My favorite thing was when Rob and I first got married, we would go out and I would get the filthiest looks from women his age. And I was just like, sorry.
I love that
I got
Ash
him.
knew by the meow that was Friday. Aw,
Aw,
I love you,
they're
Ash.
so
I miss you.
cute.
Tell your mom I said hi. Q says, I also think sometimes toxic jobs can lead people to make big jumps into things they really care about. Yeah.
Like starting a fucking podcast.
Okay. Yes. I think this is part of the, like, living a life, like, creating
life
a life
you
that's
want.
worth living. You get to a point where you're like, why the fuck not? I literally feel
Right.
like, not to be dramatic, I want to die, right? I'm losing the will to live. At some point, doing the scary thing is so much less scary than living such a miserable life. And you're like,
Because no matter what,
yeah,
you'll get fired or laid off, and no matter if you're a good worker or a bad worker. Like, we have learned this by now. So it's like, well, fuck it. Like, nothing we do is going to change any of this.
Yeah.
So, like, we might as well just do what we want.
I feel like there's genuinely a thing of like, well, I'm going to give life one last
Nicor.
chance, but I'm going to fully do it my way. I'm going to finally do it the way I've always wanted to. And did it give myself
Alyssa, would you
permission
say
to.
you're
What?
Dancing like no one's watching and live, laugh, loving? Is that?
So I'm actually talking about when you get so depressed that you want to go to sleep forever. Things just start looking different. So I don't know if I'm dancing and live, laugh, loving, or just saying maybe
Keeping
there's
it
better
positive
alternatives than
on the
just
Burnout
going to
Collective
sleep forever.
podcast since 2024, ladies and gentlemen.
But like that's what burnout feels like.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah, you just get so.
know. Alyssa,
What?
I'm messing with you.
Oh, okay.
I
See,
love her.
That was when I actually needed it.
I love her. She's so easy.
I was like, I'm gonna actually argue with you about this, and you're like,
Yeah.
I am joking. Please don't. Actually,
I think last night when we were all talking, I was just like, everything I say is a joke. It's like,
never
You have to
take
learn
me
to just
seriously.
look at her.
yeah.
You just look at her and then keep talking.
And then that's my favorite because I know that's Rebecca just, I don't know. Knowing that you're like judging me and you're just like, it feels good. It feels good.
Just move it on.
Live, laugh, love puts me in ex-Mormon fight or flight. Yeah. Peak comedy. Thank you. Thank you, JJ.
Oh, how about and just endure to the end.
JJ gets my jokes.
Just endure to the end.
Oh, is that a Mormon thing?
Yeah.
God doesn't give you more than you can handle, Elyssa.
Yeah, who doesn't? Which also, how sick is that? Endure, like my life is something to merely tolerate. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah. That kid with cancer, you know what they love to hear is that God isn't giving them anything else they can't really handle. So, they really love hearing that.
You see what JJ?
My kid JJ loves you fucking with me. Apparently, JJ does the same thing, by the way. And I'm like, are you? I
got
literally
this.
am like, is this a goof?
We like
'Cause if
plan
so,
it
I'll
out.
join
We're like
in.
texting. We're like, yep.
But if not, quit being rude to me. I gotta know. Once I have clarity, I'll move forward. But yeah, God can never give you more than you can handle. No, he really does. Sometimes you fully mentally break down.
Yep.
Yep. And then you put yourself back together, hopefully. And hopefully we can be
What
part of
the fuck
that.
else are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Oh my god, why is this
That's
getting so
true.
depressing? I feel like we should have ended like 15 minutes ago when it was like, I
We
felt-
long goodbye. This is what happens when you long goodbye.
this wasn't a
This is
long
what
goodbye.
happens.
We didn't even decide to
It was.
goodbye.
We did this. Then we did this. This was the beginning of goodbye.
no,
and then we kept fucking talking.
I did that back to JJ because JJ sent hearts.
And we talked
Yes.
about having feelings, and then we
Yes.
just kept going.
Okay.
There's
So
no
I
wrong...
was getting ready for goodbye.
There's no
Yeah.
feelings here, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? There's no wrong way to goodbye. And also, maybe the goodbye was too long.
All right.
Both of those
so,
things can be true.
All right, so we're not playing a game.
Rebecca needs to eat, actually.
Marina's snorting.
I'm sweating. I'm so hungry.
Yes. Okay. We got it. We gotta let you
Unless
go.
anyone has any questions for us. If anybody has any questions.
No.
Bye, Marie.
Bye. Okay, bye. No, thank you guys. Thank you, Elyssa,
Yeah. Thank you
for
for
being in
having
my
me.
Yes,
apartment.
thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I
It
did
was.
feel like I was
I
at a
had a
slumber
great time.
party.
Shut it down. Yeah, this was great.
Can we go paint our nails now? Face mask, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you
like
want.
that. I'll
Whatever
probably
you
just
want.
crochet. I'll probably just crochet and we'll watch more Black Mirror.
We're going to watch Black Mirror.
Yeah.
So,
It's already been decided.
That
And
sounds
eat our
lovely.
cookies and donuts.
yeah.
Where'd you get cookies from?
Ike's.
Thanks. Yeah.
I don't know.
And we had like
Salted
gourmet
caramel.
cake donuts.
That's right, Marina. Salted caramel
Yeah.
cookies.
I feel like this is
My
what got
mom.
us roped back into this the last time was we started talking about food.
Food, yeah.
We can't do this.
Go eat
We
and
can't do
stop
this.
sweating. Stop sweating, my mother says. Stop it.
And like we're keeping you here while you're hungry to talk about
Love
food.
you,
That's
Ash.
rude. Okay. Love everyone.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
so
next
much,
week.
guys. All right. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
That was so fun. I'm so sorry.